posting on the town website. Through posting on the town website and by filing a copy of the same with the town clerk. Members of the public are also permitted to submit written comments prior to the meeting via mail or email, which may be summarized or read in their entirety during the public comment period. All public comments, whether during the public portion of the meeting or submitted beforehand, shall be limited to no greater than 3 minutes in duration. First up, we're going to start with a TAP grant presentation relative to pedestrian safety improvements we're going to make to Main Street. Can you cue that up first, please?
I'm going to cue that up.
You must.
This evening we have with us Chris Mara from GPI Engineering. Chris, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, your presentation is up.
Great.
Here, I don't know if you want some opening remarks on Chris, but he's on.
All right, I could take it from here if you'd like.
Okay. Just guide me along, Chris, on when you want me to change the slide.
You got it. Thank you. All right. Thank you for inviting us to present the Historic Main Street Revitalization Project. My name is Christopher Mara, and I'm the Deputy Project Manager with Greenman Peterson, also known as GPI. GPI was engaged by the town through the NJDOT Local Aid Design Assistance Program to perform preliminary engineering, final design, and construction engineering services. Next slide, please.
Next slide's not moving.
Looks like you're in a PDF. You might need to just scroll to the next page.
Do what?
Can you scroll? Okay, there we go. Right there. Perfect. Thank you. This presentation is about 10 to 15 minutes long. During the presentation, we will explain the Transportation Alternatives Program, overview the existing conditions, proposed improvements, costs, impacts, and schedule. Next slide. This project is being financed through the Transportation Alternatives Set-Aside Program, or TAP, which is designated for non-traditional surface transportation projects that seek to strengthen cultural, aesthetic, and environmental aspects of the nation's intermodal system. Elements of typical TAP projects includes trails, sidewalks, crosswalks, bicycle facilities, landscaping, streetscaping, lighting, as well as street furniture such as benches, bike racks, planters, and trash cans. Next slide. The proposed improvements along Main Street will improve pedestrian mobility, enhance safety, and provide valuable streetscape amenities. This will improve public health, quality of life, benefit the local economy and tourism, as well as promote the historical and environmental resources of the area. Next slide. The TAP program is funded by the U.S. government through the Federal Highway Administration and is a cooperative venture that includes participation by FHWA, NJDOT, and the town of Boonton. The program is administered by the NJDOT Division of Local Aid and Economic Development and includes funding for engineering design, construction, and construction inspection. Next slide. Within the project limits from Liberty Street to Division Street, Main Street is an undivided 2-lane county route, which is classified as an urban minor arterial and has a statutory speed limit of 25 miles per hour. Main Street is the primary route through downtown section, which consists of a variety of shops and restaurants. The Rockaway River, Grace Lord Park, and Boonton Falls are located southwest of Main Street. The corridor connects the Boonton train station, I-287, and Route 202. The roadway pavement is 34 feet in width with 10-foot wide travel lane and 7-foot wide parking lane in each direction. Existing sidewalks along Main Street vary and are as narrow as 7 feet wide in many locations. In addition, the narrow roadway and sidewalks, Main Street, and the intersecting roadways often have steep grades, nearing 10% in some locations. Next slide, please. The focus of this project is to improve pedestrian safety and enhance the overall appearance of the project area. Currently, there are a number of deficiencies related to the existing sidewalk and traffic signals, which diminish safety and limit accessibility. Much of the existing sidewalk does not conform to the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, which is a civil rights law and sets the requirements for accessibility and must be met as part of this project. Along with bringing sidewalks into conformance with ADA, we are proposing curb extensions at various intersections to reduce the time pedestrians spend in the roadway and improve visibility between motorists and pedestrians. The proposed curb extensions were analyzed to ensure that larger vehicles such as buses, trucks, and emergency vehicles can still perform turning movements at each intersection. We also propose to replace the traffic signals at Boonton Avenue and Division Street to bring them into conformance with the manual and uniform traffic control devices and to be decorative per town standards. Rectangular rapid flashing beacons, also known as RRFBs, are proposed at a few key unsignalized pedestrian crossings. These beacons are installed in conjunction with pedestrian crossing signs and flash to alert motorists to the presence of pedestrians attempting to cross. They feature push buttons, so the flashing beacon is only activated when the pedestrian needs to cross the street. In addition to safety improvements, the project provides an opportunity to improve the existing streetscape amenities, including replacement of all sidewalk and curb. Street furniture such as benches, planters, trash cans, bike racks, and bollards are proposed within the project limits. During preliminary engineering, the project team had investigated street trees, but we found that their installation was not feasible due to the narrow roadway corridor, existing utilities which could be impacted, and sight distance obstruction concerns. Next slide, please. In addition, this project proposes to replace the existing lighting system with a new decorative LED system. The proposed equipment will provide more uniform level of lighting within the project limits, and the luminaire style will help reduce glare and light infiltration for adjacent properties and residences. The proposed decorative system better matches the downtown aesthetics of Main Street and will allow direct connection of auxiliary devices such as holiday string lights and wreaths. Each new lighting pole will also be fitted with flagpole holders, banner arms, and hanging hardware for flower baskets. Next slide, please. To help illustrate the improvements of the project, we have prepared a before and after renderings at two different locations. Here we have the intersection of Main Street and Church Street. We're looking. Next slide. At this location, a curb extension is proposed along the southbound side of the roadway, which will be used for additional pedestrian space and installation of street furniture such as benches, planters, trash bins, and bike racks. We also propose to install RRFBs for both crossings of Main Street. All existing curb and sidewalk will be replaced and the sidewalks will be scored in a decorative pattern. Next slide. Moving further south along Main Street, here we have the current conditions in the northwest corner of Main Street and Division Street. Next slide. At this location, we propose replacing the existing traffic signal equipment with black powder-coated equipment to match the proposed decorative lighting. I would like to note that the town had raised some concerns with the proposed curb extension at this location. We will be revisiting this design prior to submitting the revised plans to NJDOT, but I thought I'd just like to mention that right now. Next slide, please. I'd like to give a quick overview of the proposed improvements starting from the north end of the project at Liberty Street, going all the way down to our southern project limited Division Street. So starting at Liberty Street, we propose construction of a curb extension along the southbound side of Main Street, which will provide additional space for benches, planters, and trash cans. As noted, we are proposing to replace the existing lighting system along Main Street within the project limits. I know it can be difficult to see, but the new poles here are shown in blue, and they basically consist of leapfrogging poles on both sides of the roadway, which are spaced approximately 100 feet apart, similar to the existing lighting equipment today. As we continue south of Liberty Street, we propose to install another curb extension at School Street, shorten the pedestrian crossing distance, and provide more space for street furniture. Next slide. Continuing south to the intersection of Plain Street, we propose to construct a pedestrian refuge island along the side street crossing. Further south at Boonton Avenue, we propose to replace the entire traffic signal. The new signal equipment will be fully compliant with ADA and METCD design standards and will be black powder coated. We'll also have a revised timing directive with updated pedestrian and vehicular clearances, meeting current design standards and optimized based on the current traffic volumes. Continuing south to the intersection with Church Street, the curb extension and street furniture are proposed as depicted in the rendering shown previously. In addition, we'll have RRFBs installed for both crossings of Main Street here. Next slide, please. South of Church Street, we propose to construct a curb extension and bollards along the northbound direction of Main Street at the Darris Theater. Continuing south, The intersection of Main Street and Cornelia Street will feature another curb extension along the southbound side, as well as benches, a planter, and a trash bin. South of here, a new mid-block pedestrian crossing is proposed at the post office, featuring curb extensions and a new striped crosswalk. Then south of the post office, we propose to construct a curb extension and install trash bins and RFBs at William Street. Next slide. Continuing south to Mechanic Street, we propose to construct a curb extension along Main Street southbound down to Plain Street, which will help improve available pedestrian space and allow us to provide a standard width curb ramp for the Plain Street pedestrian crossing. At the intersection of Main Street and Morris Avenue and Division Street, which is the southern project limit, we propose to replace the traffic signal with black ornamental equipment. Due to the proximity of the retaining wall along Morris Avenue, we will be reusing the existing signal pole foundation, but all the above ground equipment will be replaced and black powder coated. As I mentioned, we have a small curb extension in that southwest corner. That's to get an ADA compliant curb ramp in that location. And then, as previously noted, we will be revisiting the design of the curb extension in the northeast corner at the town's request. Next slide, please. The estimated construction cost is over $3 million. Costs will be reimbursed through the Federal Transportation Alternatives Program and administered by NJDOT local aid. Non-participating costs being funded by the town of Boonton and Morris County. Since this project involves full replacement of the sidewalk from the back of the curb to the building face, the town will need approval from various property owners to replace small sections of sidewalk which extend beyond the existing public right-of-way line. The project team had mailed right of entry request letters to 40 impacted property owners within the project limits in September of 2025. And to date, I believe we have received approximately 3/4 of those requests signed by the property owner. We anticipate an 18-month construction duration. There will be temporary parking restrictions and pedestrian detours within the work areas. However, the contractor is required to maintain access to all properties throughout construction. Next slide, please. During construction, the town of Boonton will procure the services of a construction management and inspection consultant to oversee the work of the contractor. Costs associated with management and inspection will be reimbursed through the federal TAP grant. Construction inspection will observe and document the contractor's progress to ensure the work is being completed in accordance with the contract documents. Construction managers will facilitate coordination between the town, county, and public, monitor the construction schedule and progress, process payments to the contractor, and oversee closeout at the completion of construction. Next slide, please. The project is nearing the end of the final design phase. We submitted the final design submission, which consists of the contract plans, specifications, and engineer's estimates to NJDOT local aid in March. And we held a public information center meeting to present the project to residents and stakeholders in April. Remaining activities in final design include NJDOT review of the contract documents and authorization to bid the project out for construction. If all goes well, construction is anticipated to begin towards the end of this year. As previously stated, construction is anticipated to take 18 months. Assuming the project is authorized to bid this summer, we anticipate construction beginning this fall with substantial completion in the fall of 2027 and project closeout in the spring of 2028. Please note that all aforementioned dates are dependent upon projected timelines for review, authorization, bidding, and award of the project, and they may be subject to change. Next slide, please. That concludes the presentation. I'd like to thank you for your time and open it up to any questions or comments.
Okay, council members, there's been multiple opportunities to have this presented to you and ask questions, including one about a month ago. But if anything that you'd like to raise, I guess now would be the time to do so. For the public, thank you all for coming out for this event, this presentation. The other thing is just a ploy to get you here. The project in all is about $4 million, 75% of which is paid for by grant funding. So it's a great opportunity to make some pretty significant pedestrian safety improvements and include improve the lighting and unify and step up the sidewalks. So I think it's a great program for us. Unfortunately, with any government project, it takes way longer to accomplish than you would anticipate. I think we were approved for the initial funding back in 2019, and here we are 6 or 7 years later, so.
Mayor, just the one thing to add briefly, I think
Sure.
for public comment on this, I think the deadline is tomorrow to submit public comment.
I think you can ask questions. I believe the plans have already been submitted.
Okay.
Is that accurate, Chris?
Yes, the plans have already gone into NJDOT local aid back in March.
After the last public hearing.
Okay.
Do you have something? Zeke?
I do. Thank you, Chris. Just a couple of follow-ups on previous comments. The drainage for the bump outs, how was that addressed? We're introducing bump outs into the street, and are we introducing new collection basins as well?
Fortunately and kind of unfortunately, Main Street's a pretty steep roadway. So for the most part, where we have curb extensions, the drainage can continue along the curb line, just and continue to the original, inlet that it would go to. We do have, I think, a few inlets that existing inlets that would be impacted because the curb extension would basically be going over them. So those would be relocated.
Thank you. Another one was, we had discussed some time ago, the curb radiuses, where we have street crossings, where typically a tighter, your initial, maybe it was a design development, initial presentation had some wider curb radiuses for truck clearances, which are less desirable for pedestrians. Were those addressed at all in this final design?
Yeah, during design, we had run, we use a program called Auto Turn, so we could select various design vehicles and ensure they can make the turn, even if, we're doing a curb extension or changing the corner geometry. So all the locations were checked, and we try to tighten things up as much as we can within reason. Obviously, we don't want to make it, too constrained to the point where vehicles are going to be over tracking the curb.
What about the street closures and construction? Do we have any?
I don't know what, it's gonna be a construction zone for 18 months. I'm sure there's gonna be, probably some routing through Plain Street at times.
Chris,
other roads.
what will we be able to communicate to residents regarding street closures during construction?
Yeah, I mean, the contractor is going to have to put, as part of the project plans, we do submit a staging plan. We envision how the contractor would construct it. The contractor still has the flexibility to do what, he can do best. But what we envision is kind of just rolling down the road a block at the time on one side of the roadway and then going to the other. So the main impact, you'll probably, for a block at a time, you'll lose on-street parking while he's doing his work there. We do want to leave it open to pedestrians. We don't want to have very long pedestrian detours or anything like that. But there should be no long-term closures. Maybe there would be a short-term duration where he's doing work at the intersection. He might have to just detour traffic around, depending what he's doing. But there really should be no long-term detours or impacts to just general traffic.
Thank you. I got one last one's came up since your presentation. The town is implementing some ticketing, automated ticketing to protect our current location of our crosswalks. And we're introducing loading at some 15-minute loading and unloading kind of commercial spots, a plan for short-term commercial loading and unloading. Did you have that information during this? Is it still possible to integrate that, or would that change any of your design based on the bump outs and the parking? If now that we're doing a one short-term spot at each block.
There would be no.
100 block.
Sorry, go ahead.
At the bottom of each 100 block, so I'm not sure. It's
Okay.
impacted.
Yeah, I think if it's going to be on the side street, we're not proposing any changes along the side streets. And even the main line, if you're going to do any parking changes, the bump outs are pretty much in the locations where you're already not allowed to park anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
I do have one question.
Sure.
Are we anticipating any supply chain issues?
God willing, no. We certainly dealt with that during COVID. I think things are at least on the uptick or getting better with that. But I can't say with any certainty what the future holds in the supply chain.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Next up, we move on to our administrator and committee and liaison reports, starting with Town Administrator Neil Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. Highlights from the Administrator's Office for the time period of May 5th through today include the following. Continuing participation in the search to identify the new town administrator. I think we're getting close. I also helped finalize the 2026 capital projects, which are on your agenda this evening for introduction. I did have a review with the town auditor on the 2025 audit. Worked with the town engineer and its town stormwater management program and construction plans for the Vreeland Avenue Phase 2 project. And as always, spent a fair amount of time dealing with the various matters of personnel and pending litigation. That completes my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Administrator Henry? Seeing none, we'll move on to Finance and Personnel. Councilmember Weissman.
Thank you, Mayor, and I've been working on my voice, so I'll be good now. Good to go.
Good.
Couple of things, Mr. Henry referenced the capital projects, the ordinance, the committee's done a lot of work on vetting all the different requests, and I think striking a really good balance in what we're going to be moving forward with this year. So thank you again to the committee for that. Ordinance 10-26, which is on the agenda for final vote tonight, is another one that the committee spent a lot of time going through. And I also want to thank Fire Chief Baker for coming in, and I think it was a really terrific conversation with him, all working towards some of these. What are the longer term, what are the big questions we're trying to address, and making sure we're getting ahead of things wherever we can. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Councilmember Weissman? Seeing none, we'll move on to Police Committee. Councilmember Cascone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Police Committee met earlier this month. We had a very fruitful conversation. We confirmed the hiring of 2 level 2 officers to full-time status. There was an update on the Pepe Park vandalism. I encourage anybody as well, since everyone is here and I have a captive audience. If we see any vandalism, please do not just reach out to Tracy Pryor. Please reach out to our police department. They need to be made aware. Tracy's very thankful, and we are very thankful that you bring this matter to us, but you also have to bring it to the police department. Patrol officers are sending environmental criminology reports to our chief and how they are looking over Pepe Park. We know that there was an issue at the train yard. That investigation is ongoing. We were made aware of catalytic converter thefts that has started. Again, it takes 60 seconds and a Sawzall. That's it. Under your car, 60 seconds and it's gone. So if you hear your dog barking in the middle of the night or you see something strange, you should get up and take a look. And then as well, call the police officers. Please don't call Tracy in the middle of the night. Unless it's her car. There is a speed study and a speed sign currently up on Mechanic Street. The DPW will begin updating the striping of our crosswalks in the current weeks. And I want to make a special shout out to Officers Mangiano, Custa, and Detective Westenberger. They participated in the Unity Tour that happened earlier this month. If you do not know what that is, it is a group of officers that get together. They ride bicycles down from Florham Park, New Jersey, all the way to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. This is specifically to raise awareness of law enforcement officers who've died in the line of duty. So thank you very much to those officers that participated in this ride, and thank you to the chief for giving them the time off. And that concludes. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? I would just make one comment about the Unity ride. One of the days was in the rain, so it was rather unpleasant. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Moving
but
on.
we're from Boonton, we're tougher than that.
Planning Board, Councilmember Mazie.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So on May 13th, we had a planning board meeting. There was an expedited waiver site plan committee that took place on May 6th. And it involved the applicant and owner of 313 Main Street. This particular This particular area here is a commercial space right now, and that owner wants to make it also residential, small studio apartment. So that was approved unanimously by that committee on the planning board. So that space will soon go under renovation. We also discussed Riverwalk was revisited very shortly. The board, actually Riverwalk, they wanted to have an extension for construction to be started. And there was some discussion about that. So what came out of that was that Riverwalk is going to be asked to supply a schedule of the DEP's actions needed to take place to remediate the grounds. And also the town and the board also wanted the Riverwalk company to comply with ordinances relating to property care while under construction. We discussed Knoll Edge. There's two cement pads that are down right now. Those are being held for fair housing. So they will be built. Everyone involved in this particular Knoll Edge program is aware of this. It will be happening, but sometime in the future. And that concludes my report for the planning board.
Thank you. Any comments or questions?
Yeah, just one question. On Riverwalk, I'm glad to hear about being asked to adhere to property care ordinances. I would just ask as well if there's an opportunity to make sure that they adhere to some new construction-related ordinances that we've passed since this whole thing. To the extent we can, I'd like that to be just a part of the conversation.
Okay,
Thanks.
sure.
Good.
If we're talking about historic preservation ordinances, I totally agree. That I believe that's also, that would be, the property that they own is now, since they originally were approved, designated historic. I believe that would also affect an extension and certainly would affect construction, and I would also support that part of the conversation.
Okay.
I believe they have an approved application now, and the laws that were in effect as of the time of the approval stand, which is why, there's some thought perhaps not extending the development agreement. They're blaming their delay on the DEP, and the planning board asked for, thank you. The planning board asked for documentation that the delay is really on the planning board and not their failure to comply with what the DEP wanted from them.
So they are actively suing or litigating against the town, correct?
In fair share, yes,
Yeah.
for affordable housing. Next up, Boonton Homes Library. I sit on the board of trustees. We had a brief meeting. They received a very generous, I believe it's about a $20,000 bequest from a former resident of town who was associated with Cerbo Lumber in Parsippany. And they've used those funds to renovate a teen room, a space dedicated for teens. And they will be having the grand opening ceremony for that between 4:30 and 5:30 on June 9th. I believe they've instituted a reduced local member program where surrounding towns can join and have library privileges at our library for a reduced rate. Currently, there's, I think, a $250 rate to utilize any library within the county. And I think this is, forgive me, I'm not certain, it's either $65 or $100 to have access to Boonton. Their audit is almost complete. And after the fall, after summer, they're going to be using the new teen room for a Dungeons and Dragons program, which I think was quite successful under the former pediatric or Jake's wife, whatever her job was before she moved away. Kids librarian. Okay. All right. Any comments or questions regarding the library? Okay. Up next, Parks and Rec, Councilmember Meehan.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the recent events that was held was Adventure Day up at Pepe Field on May 2nd, in conjunction with the library. So that was another big success. A lot of kids out there having a great time. I've been getting a lot of calls about the pickleball courts, just to provide a little clarity. Right now, the status is that it's gone out for scheduling to start progress. Once they actually put a shovel in the ground, they said it's going to take 45 days from then. But it's not until they put a shovel in the ground. So we haven't started the clock yet on that. So that's, hopefully we'll get that done before the end of the summer. Our last indoor session of pickleball just started last week at John Hill. Summer camp, if you haven't gotten your kids signed up yet for summer camp, June 15th is a deadline. So please make sure you get your forms in. On June 12th will be June movie night. We're actually moving it to Grace Lord Park this year, trying something different on the big screen. The movie is going to be GOAT, so hopefully everybody will come out, bring your chairs, blankets for a good time. Some new events, Chess Wizards is going to be taking place the first week of August. There's a bunch of new summer sports programs taking place down at Canalside Park. Any other information, please go to the website and you'll see everything that's going on. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Councilmember Meehan? Seeing none, we'll move on to Fire Department. Councilmember Di Venezia.
Chief Baker, thank you. They have had higher than regular call volume, and it looks like we expect that to continue. The last 2 months, each month they've responded to some few more calls. John, in answer to your question from the last meeting, and he says it is pretty consistent from year over year, that 17 to 20% of those calls are mutual aid calls. It's also a reciprocal thing. There are times when we're not available that calls are coming to us. Right. Our firefighters are always looking to learn their craft even better. The new engine 305 went into service a little early because old 305 broke down on Route 287 on the way to a fire call. But it's up and running, and any one of us could go take a tour of it anytime we want. The team is there on Sunday mornings, and Wednesday you can just stop in. Recent calls include numerous smoke and carbon monoxide alarms, a couple of mulch fires, stuck elevators, and probably most seriously recently, 1 or 2 motor vehicle accidents on 287 and in town, one of which I believe was a rollover, and one of which involved a fairly sizable police bill on 287. And that was my report.
Thank you. Any comments, questions for council members? Seeing none, move on to correspondence. We have a letter from our rec director, Tracy Cryer. Dear Mayor Lynch and town council members, Parks and Recreation Committee respectfully seeks approval to bury a time capsule on the front lawn of Town Hall in celebration of the semi-quincentennial. Much more easier to read. It will be on July 20th at 6 p.m. on the front lawn. This event is intended to commemorate the community's history, preserve memories and artifacts for future generations. The ceremony will include brief remarks and the official burial of the time capsule. The professionals will be served following the ceremony. We believe this event will provide a meaningful opportunity for community engagement and historical reflection. We look forward to celebrating this important milestone together. Thank you for your consideration. Tracy Cryer, Parks and Recreation Director. Can I get a motion to open this up for discussion?
So moved. Second, Balin.
All in favor? Anybody have comments, questions, concerns?
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there going to be a limit on the amount of items that can be submitted into this time capsule?
I don't know personally, but someone does.
Yes.
Yeah, as the thing, prior asking about what or something or hauling, right? And we will approve, maybe he's gonna approve what goes in. We want to make sure it's 2026, so, you know, and like it to be good organization as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
One other question about it. Is there any size limit on the items?
Yeah, about this big, so want to get as much stuff in from as many people as we can. So paper is a good option, or very, very small.
Thank you.
For anybody who didn't see that, it was about a foot.
It's about this, it was about this big.
Good idea.
Okay, then I would call for motion to approve this.
So moved, Weissman.
Second,
Seconded.
even easier.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Seeing none. I'd just like to make a quick note. We have 2 front row seats. We're not going to appoint you to anything. If those are standing in the back, if you like to sit, please come forward. I promise not to appoint you to any committees,
We don't bite.
So usually we're all in the jokes directed to.
Okay. Moving on to consent agenda, resolutions 26-127 through 26-131. Can I get a motion to open this up for council discussion, please?
So move, Maisie.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any items on the consent agenda that the council members have questions about, concerns, comments?
I just have one question,
Sure.
because this is the first time I'm actually
Yeah.
seeing anything like this. So do we, when it says 10-year, we have 10 years to use the funding and then 5 years to use the funding, is that the time, is that kind of like the time frame?
Is it a particular?
So there's, it is 12-26, section 3. It mentions appropriations to include police department
That's
vehicles.
that's
Oh,
an ordinance. That's
Oh, I'm sorry.
almost every.
Oh, okay. Oh, so that's my next question. Never mind. Thank you. Thank you.
No, you used it up already.
That's not how that works.
Does anybody have any questions regarding the consent agenda?
I do not.
Okay, then I would close the council discussion and call for a motion to move the consent agenda forward.
So move Casconi?
Second, Balin?
We get a roll call, please?
Mr. Balin.
Yes.
Ms. Casconi.
Yes.
Ms. Venezia.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Maisy.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes. Next up, unfinished business, ordinance 10-26, public hearing, proposed adoption. An ordinance authorizing the sale of town-owned real property no longer needed for public use by sale to contiguous property owners. Can I get a motion to open this up for a public hearing?
So moved, Venezia.
Second, Meehan.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, at this point in time, if there's any members of the public who would like to come forward and discuss this particular ordinance and only this ordinance, please step forward and introduce yourself. Okay, seeing none, I would close the public comments section and call for a motion for town council discussion.
So moved, Weissman.
Second.
Casconi?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. At this point, if there's anybody has any questions or comments regarding this particular ordinance and only this ordinance, please raise them.
Yeah, the only comment I would just make is that this ordinance was vetted through the Finance Personnel Administration Committee before it came to the full body
And,
and approved by that committee.
Yes.
and it's my understanding that this is the portion of what would have been Kelly Lane that extends out to Old Booton Road. But it is terminated by a fence. There is no through traffic. There is no access to Kelly Lane from Booton Ave to Old Booton Road. It's just a little slice of land in between two houses.
Okay. Seeing no other comments, I would close the town council discussion and call for a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved, Weissman.
Second, Venezia.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Balin.
Yes.
Ms. Casconi.
Yes.
Ms. Venezia.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Maisy.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes. Next up, ordinance 11-26, public hearing, proposed adoption. An ordinance amending section 52-3 flag display policy of the town code. I would call for a motion to open this up for public hearing.
So moved, Weissman.
Second, Balin?
I do have one question though.
I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
You threw me off. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so there was quite a bit of course, letters and emails received relative to this particular ordinance that typically would be part of public discussion. But being they're all focused on this particular ordinance, we're going to include them in the public comment section of this ordinance.
Thank you.
Agreed?
And just a point of information, Mayor, because I will make the motion that Liz doesn't like before, to read the emails in their entirety. And I think I can include in that motion that anyone who submitted a public comment via email, you can only speak once. So email or, am I correct, Ms. Pasternak, that
Under the public comment rule, person can only speak once, will be heard once. If they submitted a letter, they wouldn't be talking. If they're talking, they wouldn't submit a letter, only once.
Great. So I
Under
would
this
just,
public hearing section of this ordinance.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Specific to, yeah, that's
So-
right, Mayor.
I guess I would just maybe ask, with your permission, Mayor, that if someone submitted an email, just to make it easier on the clerk to not come up and speak, just so she doesn't have to go through and sort through. Since your email, I will be making a motion, presuming that it passes. I'll be making a motion to read the emails in their entirety.
You wanna make that motion now?
I'm going to make a motion that we read the emails in their entirety, provided that the person has not already spoken in public on this ordinance.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All right.
I have one more point of, on the, since emails, we have a number of emails from residents and non-residents, and some that didn't provide information about whether or not they're a resident. How are we addressing that with regard to what we're reading?
Any member of the public is liable to make a comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
I kind of lost track of, is the public hearing?
Public
We do-
hearing is open.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so any members of the public wishing to come forward and discuss this particular ordinance, please do so. You got 3 minutes. Introduce yourself and the floor is yours.
but if you've written a letter, just please say so that we can cross it off.
Good evening, Michael Yoga, 22 Nella Court. Good? No?
Yes.
There we go. All right, 249. Michael Yoga, 20 Janella Court, Boonton, New Jersey here, former alderman, town of Boonton, 1996 to 2019. So coming up here, I oppose any change to this ordinance at this time. As I stated in the public session last time, several key reasons. One, maintaining government neutrality and nonpartisanship. Number two, reducing the risk of legal and constitutional items there. Uniform flag policy is definitely easier to defend. Government not appearing to force any specific group or ideology, and then consistency of policy as well. However, my presentation last time seemed to cause quite a stir here. The purpose of that presentation was not to intimidate, but to really educate here. So one of the things that came about was, how did we learn about the Nazi flag and what it represented? Well, somebody told us. Somebody told us about this. Whoa.
Mike, I don't need it.
Yeah.
Just skip it.
Mr. Mayor.
How
Mr.
did
Mayor.
somebody?
You got 3 minutes to say whatever he wants. whether you
Yes,
like it or not.
somebody told us about that. I'm gonna get some extra time because of the late start here. Oh, what about my right of freedom of speech?
Mr. Yoga, please continue your comments.
All right,
Your
thank you.
comments. You've
So how
already
did
made
we
your.
learn
comments.
about the Nazi flag? Well, somebody told us about this. We didn't just get born with this knowledge that it is evil. We did not, and it represents, we did not get born with this. It's just, it represents one of the worst things that happened in the history of man. It's evidence, but it's not just words. There's evidence that shows that it represents that greatest evil there. And the flag, and thus the reason why this flag, Nazi flag, should never be flown. It should also remind us of the horror so that we do not forget and do not ever let that happen again. But how did that come to be? How did that come to be where the Nazi flag was flown? Well, it was brought forward by the Nazis to bring it up on par with the German flag, very similar to what this ordinance is proposing to do, and discriminate against other flags of other groups that are from being displayed. So why are so many people wanting this
I'm sorry, Mr.
flag?
Yoga.
I was disrupted. Can I get 30 more seconds, please?
No, we get it.
Well,
Thank you for your comments.
all right. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for your
Right.
comments.
I don't believe in the Nazi flag.
We
It
get
should
you,
never
we
be
get you.
flown. And the American flag's the only flag that should be flown.
Just keep
Just
grinning,
introduce
Mike.
yourself, please.
Hi, Danielle Jean Fortune, 448 Green Street.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your name.
Danielle Jean Fortune,
you.
448 Green Street. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to address the fear that has been repeated that flying the pride flag will expose Boonton to lawsuits or force the town to accept every flag request that comes along. Let's be clear, that claim is not grounded in law and it is not supported by reality. Flying the pride flag is government speech. That means the town is expressing its own values, not opening the door to anyone and everyone. Courts have made this clear. Municipalities decide what they fly, period. Boonton would not be required to fly any flag it does not choose to endorse. And we don't have to speculate. Look around us. Morristown, Montclair, Madison, Parsippany, towns all over New Jersey fly the pride flag. Not one has been forced into flying extremist flags. Not one has lost control of its flagpoles. Not one has been dragged into the legal chaos some are trying to imagine, because that chaos simply does not exist. Now I want to address the email that's been circulating because it is spreading fear and misinformation. It claims that flying the pride flag somehow removes protections for the American flag or undermines it. That is not just wrong, it is backwards. The American flag stands for liberty and justice for all. All isn't selective. All is not conditional. All includes LGBTQ plus residents, our neighbors, our families, our children. Saying that the American flag is enough while opposing a symbol that affirms those people's dignities sends a very different message than one that is being claimed. Let's be honest about what that is. This is an attempt to frame inclusion as division and to wrap that argument in patriotism. But inclusion is not un-American. It is the very promise of America. The email also warns that this will turn the flagpole into a bully pulpit for special interests. Again, that's simply not true. The town is not opening a public forum. It is making a deliberate choice about its own message. A clear policy ensures that only flags aligned with Boonton values are flown. That's how towns across the state operate every single day without incident. So the real question here isn't about legality. That's already been settled. The question is about courage. Do we lead with facts, with confidence, and with a commitment to all of our residents? Or do we retreat into hypothetical fears and arguments that don't hold up under basic scrutiny? Because the message we send matters. When young people in this town, especially those who feel different, isolated, or unseen, look to their community, what do we want them to see? Silence or affirmation? Flying the pride flag does not weaken our unity, it strengthens it. It says clearly that Boonton does not just tolerate people, it values everyone. And let me be clear, acknowledging one group's humanity does not take anything away from anyone else. It never has and it never will. So let's move past the misinformation. Let's move past the fear. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Jen. I'm a resident of Boonton. I live up on Church Street. I love this town. I love the community that we have here, the events that we put on from First Fridays to the car shows. I'm also a transgender woman. Currently, across the country, my rights and the rights of people like me are being taken away. We're being arrested for going to the bathroom. Our legal government documents are being taken from us. We're losing our access to health care. When I think of our town flying the pride flag in June, what it would mean to me is that I'm safe here and that this town that I love loves me just as much. And this town that I value values me just as much. I hope you vote today to fly the flag that stands for me and people like me. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Pat Sheridan, and I live at 234 Old Boonton Road. I'm here tonight to express my concern with the pride flag being flown on township flagpoles. This issue was addressed in 2024 with restrictions put in place to only allow American, state, county, and POW flags to fly on our flagpoles. So I asked myself, why are we dealing with this again? And the answer has to be some personal or activist agenda to occupy our flagpoles with an ideology that is not unifying, healing, or serenity inspiring. I researched this pride flag and I found it had many different variations. It had many different It meant many different things to the fractions of this pride movement, which seems to me to be confusing and unifying at all. I then researched the American flag, and I found the details of Francis Scott's key poem and how powerful and awesome it was for him to see the flag flying after the bombarding of Fort McHenry. I then saw the iconic pictures of George Washington crossing the Delaware River with an American flag, President Abraham Lincoln rallying the Union with the American flag behind him. These were iconic pictures of soldiers during both world wars holding, erecting flagpoles, and then flying the American flag in Iwo Jima. And during the peaceful protest of the civil rights movement, there were American flags being carried. But Dr. Martin Luther King had American flags displayed to remind America that we are one and equal under the American flag. There are many more compelling pictures, the American flag flying on the moon, and of course, the New York firemen flying the American flag at Ground Zero. My son and I, along with the Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts of Boonton, planted the American flags next to all the veterans' gravestones in Greenwood Cemetery this past Sunday. It was a great experience to teach him, show my son how important and reverent our American flag is. Our American flag flying with the POW flag are the ultimate unifying flags under the American flag. It doesn't matter your race or gender. This flag guarantees us the pursuit of life, liberty, and justice for all. So in closing, I hear people say it's not a big deal to fly this pride flag, and I'm here to say it is. The American flag doesn't need help. It's inviting, loving, and uniting for all Americans. So please vote no on the pride flags to fly in our township flagpoles. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Victoria Summers. I live on Birch Street. I own a business on Main Street. 2 weeks ago, the conflation of Nazi symbology and the rhetoric of slippery slope were crassly thrown at this community. I'm here to remind you all how deeply offensive the false equivalencies made are. When the Nazis came into power in 1933, the German government began a campaign of mass internment not only of the Jews, but of gay men, lesbians, and gender nonconforming individuals. Noticeably larger than other prisoners' labels, the pink triangle signaled out LGBTQ prisoners. An estimated 65% of these prisoners died very brutal deaths. Because homosexuality was illegal in most of Europe, the nightmare did not end when the Allies liberated those concentration camps. The perception that their internment was somehow the righteous result of lawlessness meant that these prisoners were forced to serve out their sentences. The last prisoners did not leave until the 1970s. This was government policy in action, bigotry masquerading as morality, and our community still carries those scars. We fly the pride flag, and many of us wear pink triangles as a commitment to never let the past repeat itself. I'm looking at you, Mike. What we say as a community matters. The flying of a pride flag on government property signals in no uncertain terms that violence against the LGBTQIA community, or anyone for that matter, is not to be tolerated. It is shorthand for both community and government values. I leave you all with a somber reminder of the weight of responsibility that choices of councils like these carry. On Sunday, May 10th, University of Washington student Juniper Blessing was stabbed to death 40 times. 40 times. Let that sink in, somebody's 19-year-old baby. She was a New Jersey native. She had recently relocated to New Mexico to pursue a degree in atmospheric and climate science. Blessing's murder is part of a larger and terrifying growing trend of violence against LGBTQIA community members. I will use the rest of my time in silence to honor Juniper and the countless members of my community who have had their lives marred by violence.
Thank you for your comments.
Thea Casconi, 157 Rossler Street, New Jersey. I think the pride flag should go up during the month of June. I know that people say that the American flag is inclusive of everybody, but that's only in a perfect world. But the world we live in is far from perfect, even if America strives to be perfect. That is why we should put up the pride flag so we could aspire to be more perfect, to be a more perfect union. Our motto is small town, big heart, and we need to show that's true. The American flag stands for everyone, but it does not feel that way. For people like me, who are members of the pride community, people like us need more recognition because we are contributing to our town in schools, jobs, and churches, like Father Tim, who worked in St. John's. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick. I'm here representing Our Lady of Mount Carmel Parish in Boonton. I'm a parishioner, and I didn't plan to speak tonight. I just was invited by a friend to come talk and address the committee, and I just wanted to make the point that everyone who has already talked opposing this bill or this new law has already stated, which is essentially that we already have a flag that is supposed to represent everyone in this nation. And I think that it's slightly disrespectful to try to propose this, especially during Memorial Day week, when we're here this week to honor men and women who have fought for everyone in this country, to express all the rights and express all the things that they would like to express. And I do think that it's important to just remember that people do die just for that flag. People answer the call so that they can provide those freedoms that everyone is able to express already. People already have the rights, and I understand that there are groups that don't feel that they are adequately represented, and that's understandable, but we already have a system in place that allows for those things to be addressed. My concern is that when one group is favored over another, then what about the people who aren't represented? That's the point of the flag. That's the point of our American flag that's already there to represent the people of New Jersey and the United States. So again, it's not about attacking any specific group. It's just about trying to restore the respect that is due to the flag that represents all people. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, Lindsay Weissman, 405 Boonton or
Morris
Ave. Good evening. I want to start by expressing my sincere gratitude to the town council for introducing the ordinance to fly the pride flag here in our community. This is a meaningful step, one that says to every resident, you belong here. The pride flag is more than a symbol. Each color carries a specific meaning, and together they tell a story of who we are and what we stand for. Since a question came up about what the pride flag means or which one, I believe it's the 6-colored rainbow flag that we're talking about here, and I'm just going to run through what the colors mean. Red represents life, the life that flows through each of us, regardless of who we love. Orange stands for healing, a reminder that many in our community have carried wounds and that this town can be a place of recovery and care. Yellow is for sunlight, the warmth, energy, and optimism that the LGBTQ+ community has brought to art, culture, and everyday life. Green represents nature, the truth that LGBTQ+ people are a natural and beautiful part of the human family. Blue stands for harmony, the peace and unity we are working to build together in this community. And violet represents spirit, the resilience, creativity, and unbreakable spirit of LGBTQ+ people everywhere. When that flag flies here, it sends a simple but powerful message. This is a place where everyone is seen, everyone is valued, and everyone is welcome. Thank you to the council for taking this step. Thanks, Kim. And thank you all for being here tonight. Thanks, that's my time.
Thank you for your comments.
Greetings, and thank you for putting the microphone down low because I'm short. My name is Carol Morikoff. I live at 214 Madison Street, and I come here to advocate for voting in favor of the Pride Flag Ordinance. This is, I want to say, my third or fourth go-round on the Great Flag Wars. And usually it's fairly predictable. One side is, yay, us, and it represents us, and we feel honored, and it's a way of acknowledging the respect of the residents and what they contribute. And the other side, generally speaking, is boo hiss, never change what goes up on a Pride pole, it's terribly disrespectful, you people should just go away and sit down. And then something happened this year. And I wish I knew what it was. But when you have an individual who feels free to throw a swastika into the face of a Jewish man, it is despicable. And woman. And woman. It is equally despicable to throw it in the face of a Jewish woman. What is going on here? Remember the phrase, Booten, small town, big heart? Are we trying to make it small town, small minds? How about small town, get out of town before sundown? No, we are your neighbors. We are your business people. We come to call cleanups with you. We contribute. This is not the way to behave. We deserve better as a community. You need to do better as a council. You need to vote in favor of this ordinance. Good evening.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello, all. Christine Clark. Very briefly, I lived at 405 Morris Ave. I'm here to talk to you about the second display by a former Republican councilman of a swastika in front of two Jewish members of council. My family, going back generations, has served in our military. I'm a bit of an ancestry nerd, so I can tell you exactly where and how. My grandfathers were out in the Pacific. My great-grandfather lost his life in the Battle of Malaya, protecting his men so that they could try to get to a boat before the enemy came in on land. There are millions of families who lost members in that war, and you cannot come up here and tell me that you are serving any respect to the U.S. military when you're displaying a swastika, which is the symbol under which so many of our families lost members, lost lives, lost fathers, grandfathers, mothers, sisters. And you're going to come up here and you're going to show that symbol twice in front of Jewish members of council, and the members and leaders of the Booten Republican Party are going to say nothing condemning it, while government may have to protect certain forms of hate speech unless it meets 3 specific conditions in which it meets criminality standards. It is not okay for members of any political party to allow that to stand. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Balin. I live on Green Street, up on Street Hill. I think that the town council should vote no to ordinance 11-26. I know that most people have, believe in one thing or another. I think that that is a really good indication that this flag will cause maybe not division, but contention. Definitely, I think that any flag that people can easily disagree with or be like, I don't believe in that, and like, that's fine, or I do believe in that, that's great, should not be flown under the American flag, because the American flag signifies the government. And so any flag that should be flown under that should be something that we can all agree on, because I think there would be a possibility for people who don't agree with the pride flag to see it at the town council and say to themselves, well, I don't agree with that, so I'm just not going to do anything the town council says. And I think that would be a big problem. Anyway, good evening. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Hello. My name is Carl Casconi. I live at 157 Rosser Street, right near the high school. And I just want to say the young lady that was up here before, that was her words, her thoughts. Those we share the house. I only edited it. She wants to be a writer, and now she has to deal with editors. I'm very pleased to see all of the children here today, including the man that brought up with the Cub Scouts today. Thank you for coming. It's important to get involved in this process. That way you won't do something stupid like come up and bring Nazi flags to the front, because people have more intelligence, right? We're smart people. We're not dumb. We're not going to bring a Nazi flag up here. Now, as for the American flag that I served under, I am a U.S. Navy veteran, proud U.S. Navy veteran, following my family. My father was in Vietnam, and I really think he died of diabetes from Agent Orange. My grandfather saw Mussolini get assassinated. My great-grandfather Taylor, who lived here in Boonton, was in the Great War. That flag is our love, and it should represent everybody. But I have 3 stories of my veteran days, not veteran days, my active service days of when that did not apply. In boot camp, I can't remember his name, but he drank penicillin because he was allergic to it, because some of the people in my company, including me, were making fun of him because he might be gay, including me. He tried to kill himself. Thank God he was not successful. My colleague, I was part of that, so I'm not exonerating myself. My colleague, Petty Officer 2nd Class Eric McCarson, fantastic sailor, fantastic person. We had top secret security clearance, signal intelligence. I come in one day to work. We all have to check in, have our bag checks. He's the one checking the bags. You don't do that if you have a security clearance. They did a spot background check like they did on all of us. And some ex-girlfriend of his said that he was gay. He lost his security clearance. They took it from him while he was defending that flag. They took that security clearance from him and made him get a discharge. My friend, when I was in cryptology school, I was a young boy, like they say in the Sound. I was 17 going on 18. He told me he had to go out with his uncle all the time. He had to go out with his uncle. His uncle was coming to pick him up every day. Naive me saying, okay, that's cool. I wish I had an uncle. But I didn't realize why he said it was his uncle. It's because no one would accept him for what he was. The pride flag is not in replacement of our great flag. That pride flag is to show everyone is actually included, even those that don't feel like they are.
Thank you for your comments.
I had absolutely no intent of speaking to the honorable mayor and alder or town council. I've been here a long time. So Nancy Seuss, 423 Morris Avenue.
Thank you.
I have lived in Boonton since 1992. I have been coupled. I have been civil unioned. I have been whatever the other thing was, and then I was finally married in this room with my wife, Suzanne. What the pride flag signifies is that there was an entire valuable component of Americans that were treated like trash, beaten, having full permission of police officers to knock them down, step on them, throw them in a paddy wagon for no other reason than they were different. Being in Boonton, I've seen it go up, down, and it always has been, for me, the town that was the little train that could. It would get going, and it would have the big heart, and then it would say, oh no, we're not that person, we're not that town, no, take it back. We're tiny. We can't be that generous and have a pride flag in Grace Lord Park. My goodness. Oh, well, somebody's going to say something bad about us. I have been proud to live in this town. I want the ordinance to pass.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi. Reed Adler, 120 Addison Street. And I just want to say too, my grandparents and great grandparents actually fled from the Nazis in Nazi Germany. My great grandmother was thrown down a flight of stairs in Kristallnacht. They actually escaped on a cargo ship to America in search of a better life. And I disagree with the way that gentleman handed out the Nazi flags. However, I do agree with the point he was trying to make, however ill-advised that choice was. You have to excuse me, I'm a little not a great public speaker, if you will. So I believe that flagpoles on town property should be strictly limited to our country's flag, our state's flag, and our county's flag. We live in a really amazing country of free speech, of open debate, and basic freedoms awarded to every American that many other countries can only dream of. But there is a big difference between citizens taking a cultural stance and our government taking one. And that's really regardless of what that stance is. And I really do feel strongly that if this were a flag from somebody who had cultural beliefs on the other side, that I would also be standing here telling you that I think it's not the right choice. So we can all share whatever messages we like on our private property, share them proudly if they align with our beliefs. But the town flagpole is strictly a place for the flags that unite us all. And in a town full of diverse beliefs, the one thing that undoubtedly unites us are the flags that I mentioned, the place we live. Simple enough. It seems like there's people in here that will not be represented by anything but that. That's the one thing that unites everybody in this room. So I really do think that we should consider that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Charlotte Sheridan, 234 Old Boonton Road. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members, for your courage and hard work representing our town. My husband and I have lived in Boonton for the last 10 years. We have 3 beautiful children. I love this town and I love living here. I would like to address the council members who are in support of raising the pride flag at Grace Lord Park. I grew up going to pride marches. I walked alongside my sister as she went through hormone therapy and gender reassignment surgery. I stood outside men's bathrooms and kept watch. I love my sister, but I cannot support this. It is in my opinion that Grace Lord Park is predominantly a place for children to play. Grace Lord Park is my favorite place to bring our children. Can you honestly say that this is in the children's best interest? I am an artist and I love the rainbow. In the past, I've seen creative work displayed in the park in the month of June. Why not make something beautiful for the children to enjoy and keep the flagpole for our American flag? Our American flag has stood tall for 250 years and has seen us through ups and downs in our nation's history. Our flag is wide, expansive, with room for all underneath. It unites in hard times. Please honor the sacrifice of all the men and women who have made and continue to make this country so good. That includes you. I want to thank our veterans, especially those here tonight. Thank you, Zeke. And it is their sacrifice that enables us to stand up here today and practice our First Amendment rights. So please choose what unites rather than divides and support our American flag. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you for the comments.
Hi, my name is Michael Liberto. I also sent in an email on Overlook Ave, so go ahead and cross that off.
You got that, Liz? Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I do not have too much to add that hasn't already been said or that I didn't send in an email last week, other than I believe this ordinance should not be passed and that the U.S. flag is the only unifying flag that we have in this country. And I thank everyone here tonight for saying what they've said. There's obviously been a lot of heartfelt messages and a lot of emotions and a lot of different things said on both sides that I haven't experienced, and I commend them for coming up here and speaking. All that being said, I believe that we should put our efforts into making the U.S. flag the flag that we want it to be, rather than what you might believe it is now, as opposed to lifting up another flag. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Kiernan Stafford, Birch Street. The American flag has been said to stand for many things, for unity, for peace, but most importantly for everyone. But right here, right now, that's not exactly true. While some people may say it's not good to fly a pride flag, it's because they're scared of the change and scared to admit that they were wrong. Wrong that the American flag might not represent anyone, that it might push different people out. Not the flag itself, but the people and the beliefs underneath it. Flying the pride flag won't undermine the meaning and historical effects of the flag, it just emphasizes it. The pride flag welcomed so many people, not just the LGBTQ+ community, but all the allies as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
You're at Bob Decker Road. I remember this one.
Thanks.
Just a few words here. This isn't just about the pride flag to me. This is about any flag other than the American flag. Our American flag is all we need to unite us. We all can feel how proud we are and how patriotic we feel about our country when we look up at it. Our only flag flown should be one displaying our patriotism and our freedom that has been fought for and men have died for and women have died for. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mr. Mayor, City Council members, my name is Seamus Flaherty. I'm on Fairview Avenue in Ward 4. I did send in an email. Sounds like if I sent in an email, we can.
Got that, Liz?
Seamus Flaherty. I am here tonight to ask the council to vote against the amendment to the ordinance. I think just the fact that we've got so many people in the room with so many different viewpoints on this issue shows that contrary to what's put forth by proponents of the law, this is not, an uncontroversial issue, right? This is an issue about which people have different views. Those views are deeply felt. Those views resonate through families, right? Like Charlotte, my kids, my wife has my kids at Grace Lord Park often, right? To have a pride flag flown in Grace Lord Park will be experienced by my family as an imposition, right? As a flagpole that belongs to myself and my family as residents of Boonton, belongs to all of us, in fact. It'll be the expression of a viewpoint and a kind of a worldview that we ourselves don't hold, never adopted, would never have voted for, right? But it'll be on the flagpole that belongs to myself and my family as residents. I'm also concerned that, in reading the ordinance, what's going to be flown, the amendment to the ordinance will allow for a LGBTQ plus pride flag, right? I'm aware of at least 2 different flags that I think fit that description. I didn't see any definition of what that flag actually means. I also am not aware of what are the values, the beliefs, the lifestyles, the behaviors, anything that goes with that. I can look at our American flag. I see 50 stars that represent 50 states. I see 13 bars that represent our founding colonies. We have a longstanding tradition with this. It represents all of us, right? It represents all of us by merit of our citizenship in this country. And I think it's the only flag that should be flown along with the other official flags. Again, in the amended ordinance, you can see that there's official flags that can be flown along with our American flag. The official flag of Morris County, the official flag of the state of New Jersey, the official flag of the town of Boonton, and so on, right? There's not a similar, I can go to ordinances, I can go to longstanding practice, and I can find out what those flags mean, and I can understand what they represent and what they entail, right? LGBTQ, I think even since this discussion began years ago, has evolved into what was included under that and what that flag represents, right? So I think it's just a matter of good civics, right? That we're all citizens of this country, we're citizens of this state, we're citizens of this town. Those are the flags that should represent us. They represent us all. And so I'd ask that you vote against an amendment like this to the city ordinance.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Pete Nolfo. I live in the First Ward. I'm also a Vietnam vet, served in Vietnam in 68, 69, Special Forces. I've lived in town for 45 years. I've been on the Board of Ed, been on the Planning Board.
I heard a lot of emotion tonight of Nazi flags. It's nuts. You know, whoever brought that up, we really need to talk to that person. In the time I've been in this town, I have not seen a lot of the things people are talking about. On the Board of Ed, Planning Board, didn't see any discrimination. In the service I did, I've seen discrimination against lots of people in my life. I'm almost 80 years old. I've seen blacks discriminated against, Hispanics discriminated against, Italians discriminated against. No flags. This is a great town. Look around. We have a town that I'm proud to live in. We have every type of nationality, every type of social thought in this town. One flag has been here since I've been here, and it represents us all. Keep it simple, guys. You see what this is doing to the town. We have people from out of town, we have people from in town, everybody's losing their minds over this. It's a flag. The American flag is our flag, all our flags, not your flag, it's our flag. Let's keep it simple. One flag for the town of Boonton. Vote no to this amendment to the ordinance. Have a good night.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Linda Hogaboom. I live at 21 Chestnut Street. To my, yeah. To my queer friends and allies, if you hear someone say something awful tonight, don't look at them. Look at the community here alongside you. Same to my Jewish friends. Tony Scazafava wanted to know at the last meeting where all the gays are. He even pointed one out in the audience, and please don't do that ever again. Where are the gays? They're home making school lunch for their kids. They're calling their mom to say hi. Oof, I haven't been around people in a while.
Linda, do you need help?
Nope, they're planting tomatoes for the summer, and they're burying their brother. They're just living their lives, coexisting. That's what this ordinance is doing. It's not shoving or pushing or yelling or eloquently crafting just the right thing to say to help you understand. It can't do that anymore. This ordinance is just reflecting the coexistence that already is present in this very diverse, very warm, very loving small town. Lindsay Weissman has advocated for this long before her husband, Ben, made it to the town council. Sorry, Ben. It's not a moment of advantage to press because you're here. It's a movement that's been happening long before any family relationship to the council. You want to disparage the Boonton Elks Lodge by trying to insinuate a false relationship. We came from our first Pride in 2021, and that night, half a dozen of us signed up to become Elks. Many more have followed in the 6 years since. The Boonton Elks is a wonderfully welcoming community organization that reached out to us and offered their flagpole that first year for a Pride flag raising. We've had a community Friendsgiving event for years together. That relationship is real. Do not debase the work we do as Elks for the community. It's just more misdirection on the mayor's part, trying to make this about something it's not. It's not about Boonton Rainbow Pride or the Elks or veterans or some imagined financial windfall. You're spinning your wheels over and over, and you're working so hard to block this. That requires your own quiet reflection on why. You're not going to stop the queer community from celebrating and agitating. I mean, did you see the ending of Footloose? What are you fighting against? Thank you, Kim Maisie. Thank you to those who are voting yes. The voice of our government representatives telling people that they need to see support. That's indeed, it's needed. FYI, there are no more Boy Scouts. They put that flagpole up in Grace Lord Park, and they are now scouting America. They get it. It's not that hard.
Thank you.
My name is Paige Mowdy. I did write an email, but after hearing everything, I kind of want to put that message aside because all I was talking about was how great I love this town and great I love feeling like I'm in such a great community. And I do feel that. I do feel that for sure. I live with my lovely girlfriend Jen back there on Church Street. We've been dating for over 6 years. I love her very much. I just kind of wanted to come up here and say, I hear everybody saying that yes, America, the American flag is supposed to unify us. It is the message of the American people that we are all one. And I am just going to say, I am so, so happy that you have the privilege to feel that way. And I hope you never, ever, ever have to feel like it isn't representing you in any capacity. Because right now I don't feel represented by the American flag. And the reason I don't feel represented, look at the years and years of other states, the federal government, everybody is pushing against us, against us, against us. And we can say, yeah, it's just a flag. Who cares? It's just a flag. No, it's not just a flag. And I've also watched a lot of people abstain and just sit on the small thing. Oh, it's just this, it's just that. And then I saw what happened after the fact. Women lost their rights to choose. We're on the brink of trans people losing their ability to get the health care that they need to be who they are and not kill themselves because they can't. So again, I am very, very happy that those of you that haven't felt oppressed in this world, that see the American flag and are very proud. Right now, I am not proud. And I want to be. And I really would like to be with this town. I am in support of the pride flag. And I hope you guys are too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments.
Bailey, 719 Green Street. Sorry, I'm a little hoarse.
Okay, try to get closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry. So I heard about it tonight, and I thought about the Statue of Liberty, who, or it really inspires me. She says, "Give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free." I really love our town, and I love my country, and I thought that I could agree with anyone on the street because of the American flag. I oppose ordinance 11-26. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Michael Herbert. I live on Holmes Street. I'm proud to be an ally to this community. And I worry sometimes that I don't know how to do that. And I think the best thing that any of us could do to be an ally, if you're not a part of the community, the LGBTQIA+ community, is listen. And I think we really owe it to these members of our community to listen when they say that they don't feel represented by the American flag. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to hear that. And I would think we have to admire the courage that it takes to come up here and say something like that. I had after a brief meeting outburst, I had about an hour-long conversation with Mr. Vint after the meeting 2 weeks ago. And I'll say I admire his dedication to his principle, even though we didn't really agree at the end of the day. And that's okay. This room is where we're meant to disagree. In that conversation, Mr. Vint helped me distill why I support amending this ordinance. One minute. I know the people behind me don't mean harm to the members of the LGBT community. But there are those in the world that do. And when I'm not available to stand next to somebody who's feeling threatened or feeling prejudiced against, I want them to be able to see the flag flying in Grace Lord Park so that they know that there are people in their community, that they have friends, family, and neighbors who will stand beside them and stand behind them, so that one day we don't need another flag to supplement the American flag. And I'll invite everybody who opposes this ordinance to work to bring about the day that we don't need to fly the rainbow flag.
Thank you for your comments.
Dr. Susanna Pittman, resident of Randolph, but business owner and property owner in town. So a word I've heard a lot tonight and 2 weeks ago is this word unity. And it's a great word. You know, it would be lovely if this entire room were unified. And I'm sure there's things we can probably unify on. Maybe not pizza, maybe not coffee. But there's some things maybe we can find some unity in. But the thing I've learned a lot as an ally is that it's very difficult to have unity when you don't have equality. The people who are in pain tonight are in pain because they don't have the privileges that I have as a white, cisgendered person in this country. And that's not okay. That's why this is hard. And that's why this flag is so important to these people. And I can't believe that I have to give this lesson, but I'm going to say this now while I have this opportunity. It is never okay to say the N-word to a Black person. It is never okay to say the F word to a gay person. It is never okay to flash a swastika to a Jewish person. But what I really hope we can unite with is the notion that it's never okay to say or flash any of those things.
Thank you for your comments.
My name is Joe Kataya from 415 Madison Street, Boonton. I hate to be here talking about this once more. Okay. What I want to say is I personally have no problem with the pride flag being flown at the Grace Lord Park during the month of June. With that being said, I would like to address the citizens behind me on a personal matter, how I feel in my heart for them, for everyone here. So if I may turn my back on the 9 of you here with respect, please. What I want to say to everyone here, every gay woman, every gay man, if you got to learn something, and I hope I'm hitting something in you. That is, if you love yourself, if you truly, internally, externally love yourself deeply, then you know who you are. Love yourself. And when you do, you'll walk tall, you'll stand tall, your shoulders back, and your head held high. And what that means is you don't need approval from anyone. You don't need approval from white men, Black men, or anybody else. You walk tall for who you are. You are God's creation, and you don't forget that. You don't let anyone treat you as an inferior person. You don't stand for that. And if the pride flag means that's your way of showing it, okay. I say I'm straight for the record, okay? I'm straight. But I'm not a professional speaker, okay? But if you truly love yourself, you don't need approval from anyone, okay? You walk where you walk, you talk where you talk, you do what you want to do. I could care less. You're God's creation. Love yourself, and that means you need a flag to help you along your way. Hey, okay? All I ask is only one little thing in the future. Please, I'm a veteran of Vietnam. I served in combat, and my comrades died over there, okay? And there's a flag up there, that black flag you see up there, that I cherish. To me, that means an awful lot. I suppose the pride flag means to you something. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments. It's not what she said. They don't pass what I have. Take two over here to share. Take two over here to share.
Brian Vint, 217 Crown Road. We've been here before. 2 weeks ago, I said about love and everybody respecting each other. Okay? In this ordinance, I like law and order, like here. Okay? If somebody else wanted a flag, how do I get a flag? I don't see anywhere somebody, Jewish American flag, want to be flown there. Autism flag, there's none. It's either pick or choose. It's discrimination. Can't pick and choose. I've always said that from the very beginning. It's discrimination, okay? In front of you, okay? I said this 2 years ago. Actually, writing it out, it was almost 2 years to the day. I requested men's health flag, which was a law, okay? That can't be flown, okay? The other page is somebody said about legal precedents, stuff like that. In front of you is 306 other flags. Before anybody says about donuts in this online, we have everything from Jewish Heritage Month to Women's Health Month to Black History Month to Black Music Month to Irish American. All those flags I'm requesting. There's 306 of them. There's Catholic, there's Jewish, there's Appeal to Heaven's flag on there. Okay? Because if you pick one, you have to pick another. Right before here, I had a beautiful conversation with a woman that her daughter is gay. How's it come out? I said, okay, we're here for you. What do you need? Okay? We were talking about tonight. And this is what she said to me. Okay? She said, you either pick everybody's flag, or you pick no flag, or you pick a flag that represents everybody. That's where I stand. I don't want to see anybody murdered. I came up here about love 2 weeks ago. A lot of things that we said, you guys said over there, I agree with. A lot over here, I agree with. Mike, you and I had a great debate last week. 90% we agreed on. The only thing we came away disagreeing about was if it was one flag or not everybody else's flag. That's where we disagreed about. I want everybody's flag. He just wanted the pride flag. Okay. So again, in closing, raise your flag, please. Raise the pride flag. Okay. But if you do that, you need to pick, Ms. Mazzy, every flag of the five of you. Okay. If you do not, it's considered discrimination. So pick everyone, or you pick ones that belong to everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for your comments.
Good evening, Daniela Mendez, Sickle Street in Dover, New Jersey. I'm here this evening speaking on behalf of EDGE New Jersey, that stands for End Discrimination, Gain Equality. We are the only Pride Center in Morris County. We're actually 7 minutes down the road in Parsippany. But perhaps most importantly, or more importantly, I am the first openly trans woman elected in our great state of New Jersey. And I was just here tonight to stand in solidarity with my queer community. But I heard a former Board of Education member express that they don't see discrimination or they haven't seen discrimination. And I can tell you that day in and day out at Edge, New Jersey, we see 13, 14, 15-year-olds from across Morris County, including Boonton, that come to us on the verge of committing suicide. And we have to support them through that process because they're not affirmed at school, because they're not affirmed at home, because they hear conversations like this happening, questioning their existence. So I invite you all, including you, Mayor, I invite you all to come visit us at Edge, New Jersey, so you can see and experience firsthand what I just shared with you. I'm connected to some of you, so I can share my email, and then if we want to coordinate a visit down at Edge, happy to do that. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Margaret Balin, Green Street. Dr. Susanna Pittman said it very well. You're not going to get unity without equality. Many people in this room have expressed how discriminated and marginalized they have felt. And I do not want anyone to feel that way. I want us to work to change our country so that our national symbols represent dignity for everyone, regardless of their beliefs, their identity, their creed, everything. If even one person or minority group feels unrepresented or marginalized by a particular private special interest symbol, it cannot have a place on our municipal flagpoles. That's not equality, and that will not bring unity. We've already heard at least 2 people come up to the mic and say that they do not feel represented by the pride flag if it were flown. You, council members, swore an oath to govern and vote impartially, without playing favorites or taking sides. Will you be the council member who chooses with your current power to play favorites and silence and marginalize even a few? There are likely some who did not come tonight who also would feel marginalized and silenced. I am sad that I feel I need to stress that this is not about my flag versus your flag. Like the good doctor said, it's about unity. If we need to change our country, we will not do it by altering or degrading, not degrading, corrupting the symbols that should mean unity. When you put other symbols, whatever they may be, that favor some and not others, you are choosing. You're saying you, but not you. And all of us in this room have felt marginalized.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to state clearly that myself and my family.
Just introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My name is Mariana Staley. We live on Dixon Ave, Boonton. And we clearly oppose the ordinance. Town flagpoles should be reserved for what unites us, the American flag. Government should not use public property to endorse selected cause, whatever they may be, over others. The better rule is simple. No clause flags on town flagpoles. If we stand by what we said at the beginning of the Pledge of Allegiance, there's really no reason for us to be here tonight. We pledge allegiance to the one flag, the flag of the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Alexander Lopez, Reserve Street. Something quick and simple. Even if it seems like just a flag to some people, to others it can be a reminder that they are welcome here and don't have to hide who they are. It can generally make people feel seen and supported instead of judged and alone. Not everyone has to relate to it personally to understand why it matters to others. Supporting people and making them feel welcome is not something to be afraid of. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Hello, Tom Martinson, Deer Hill Court, Boonton, New Jersey. So just keep my remarks brief here. Regardless of how you feel about it, the American flag represents everyone in this room. There it is, representing us. Your attitudes towards it do not change that fact that we are all Americans, and that flag is our flag. On a similar note, regardless of how you feel about it, the pride flag does not represent all of us. It represents a specific ideology that not all residents of this town subscribe to. There are many powerful forces outside of this room that seek to sow division. The 24-hour news cycle, social media algorithms, they all profit off of taking our attention, galvanizing us into anger, and focusing to an extreme degree on the things that divide us rather than the things that unite us and make us feel kinship with our neighbor. And by the very fact of vocal opposition and the fact that this similar proposal was rejected by this same council just 2 years ago, shows that this is a matter that does not unite us. The flag is the only thing in discussion that does represent all sitting and standing here today. So with that, please vote for what represents all of us. Please vote no to this proposal.
Thank you for your comments.
Sorry I'm late, but I was at a very important golf outing today for a great cause. I was at be dressed up for the cause, so. You know.
Introduce yourself, please.
Oh, Tony Scazzafava, Fairview Avenue.
Thank you.
And the good town of Boonton, USA. You know, go up to the cemeteries that the kids just put the flags up there, 5 cemeteries, and see the American flags blowing in the breeze. That tells you that these people died, that lived in this town, died for this town, and many of them are on the poles out here, the pictures of them. There is one flag for this country. Until we figure that out, we're going no place. You're dividing this town, which was a great town. This town has never had a problem. Over the years, you never heard a problem about anything. Nobody was turned away from a store. Nobody was harassed on the streets. Therefore, this town is a great little town for everyone. Christian, Jew, Muslim, white, black, Chinese, whatever you are. It's always been that way. This town, I grew up in this town. It has not changed. Therefore, I think you should vote no on this proposal. What I'd like to know too, some of you folks up there, these people pushing this, are you members of this Boonton Rainbow Pride? Who's a member? Are there parade memberships to be into this? Who's pay, anybody? raise
Public
their
comment,
hand?
sir. It's not a question and answer. Public comment.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. But I think it's interesting to know who the officers are. And if anybody is up there on the dais that are members of this association. And if they're also an officer or somebody in their family's an officer or member, they should recruit themselves. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your comments. Anyone else in attendance care to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll go to the emails. Liz, you up for this?
From Vincent Kelly, dear Mayor and Newton Council. Liz, you need your mic. Oh, I have it here. No, I'm gonna-
Okay.
Okay. There we go. From Finton Kelly, dear Mayor and Boonton Council, I am a high school student in Boonton and have lived in town for my whole life. I think the American flag should be the only one to be flown over town property. Please vote no on the flag ordinance. From Heather McLeod, I am a recent addition to the Boonton community. My long-term partner and I purchased our home last May and moved in June. While we were looking at houses, we realized that we were not just buying a home, but also a town and community where we felt safe, welcomed, and included. There were many indicators that Boonton was that type of town when we walked around on a Saturday in April last year. Every shop owner welcomed us warmly. Random people we talked to were friendly and kind, and most shared their favorite spots in town for pizza or things to do. And in what seemed like every window, there was a pride flag or poster promoting Pride Day in Grace Lord Park. We instantly were drawn to this pocket of lovely residents and community members. Almost a year later, we have met some incredible friends and found our own favorite places in town. I love to see the diversity and people showing up to the First Friday events and the smiling vendors at the farmers market. Even just chatting with neighbors who have a yard sale and learning about their history has been a privilege and a joy. When I heard last year that the town would not raise the pride flag, it made my heart sink. Did we choose incorrectly? Was everything we had seen a facade? Maybe this isn't the place for us for the long haul like we thought. Was a symbolic gesture saying, no, we don't want to include you, or just stay over there where we can't see you? It hurt and made me feel more alone and aware that many people are looking at me and my partner sideways when we hold hands walking down Main Street. By raising the flag, the town would instead be showing a message to all of inclusivity, kindness, and love. The pride flag does not symbolize hate or othering. It is an inclusive symbol, one where we say that love matters and kindness matters. And if you are being othered, you're welcome here. There is no hate due to your gender or sexual identity. By choosing to not allow the pride flag, you are joining the sadly growing list of places who would rather me and my partner, my friends, and anyone else like us be hidden from view and ignored, which tells us that we are not welcome. I urge you as council members and representatives of the community to vote to include the LGBT flag in the ordinance to cement a commitment of what this town stands for. After all, we are just a small town with a big heart. There's room to spare for us to be seen, and this is a symbol that we are indeed welcome here as friends, community members, and neighbors. Thank you, Heather. Bear with me. Okay. Okay. There's three very similar ones. I am writing to express my support for the pride flag being flown in Grace Lord Park and or anywhere else in town. I support the proposal to fly the pride flag during Pride Month, but also support its presence any time of the year. Please pass this referendum to support our diverse and inclusive community. And that came in emails from Megan McQuaid, Maria Elisa Glatz, and also from Joy Mazer, although she adds, I love that I can show my children that our town supports its own diversity and is a welcoming place for all. Please pass this referendum. From Crystal Trowbridge, please vote no on any ordinance that would politicize town flagpoles. You were elected to represent the people of Boonton, not to judge their personal and sincerely held beliefs. There is only one flag that unites us, our American flag. Vote no on ordinance 1126. And that message was sent by Crystal Trowbridge, Katie Funstein, Thomas and Kelly Krolikowski, Maria Morton, and Heather Galinsky. And Joe Kelly. And also from Sue Wash, although she adds, public flagpoles should remain neutral ground reserved for the American flag, the one symbol that unites us all. Turning them into a platform for political expression will only divide our community. And Mary McMahon adds about there is only one flag that unites us, our American flag. Similarly, on the international level, the International Olympic Committee flies one flag as the official flag of the Games to unify all athletes as they compete in front of the world. Please vote no and remain focused on legislation that truly impacts Boonton's residents, including tax levies and local infrastructure improvements. And from Lloyd Martinson, please vote against ordinance 1126. The town's flagpoles should only display the U.S. flag and state and federal government flags. First, to utilize government power meant to govern a municipality well and effectively for everyone, to instead use that power to display a flag based on the preference of some town council members is completely inappropriate. Second, it is an insult to the U.S. flag, as it is a statement that our country's flag is insufficient. So many have made the ultimate sacrifice for our country to protect the freedoms we enjoy. Third, why not a flag supporting other causes or beliefs? For Ukraine, against anti-Semitism, against racism, environmental issues, etc. All have the same arguments against them, which is why neither they nor the pride flag should be flown on town property. From Paulette Snyder, please vote no on any ordinance that would politicize town flagpoles. You were elected to represent the people of Boonton, not to judge your personal and sincerely held beliefs. As the troop coordinator of American Heritage Girls Troop based in Boonton, I have the honor of teaching each girl who joins the troop the rules of flag etiquette governed by the U.S. Flag Code, along with the meaning and history of the American flag, as part of their joining award. The troop currently has 44 members and up to 55 members, many of which are Boonton residents. Our nation's flag unites us all and symbolizes liberty and justice for all, no exceptions. The more this is made known to our communities, the more united we will become. Vote no on ordinance 11-26. Isaac Wash writes, as others have, please vote no on any ordinance that would politicize town flagpoles. The American flag represents our shared belief in the inalienable rights due to every individual, regardless of religion, race, gender. There is no need to fly other flags that are potentially divisive. There is only one flag that unites us, our American flag. Vote no on 1126. From William Kelly, Dear Mayor and Boonton Council, I am a longtime resident here and sad to see divisive ordinances like the Grace Lord Park flag ordinance. This flag and the aggressive tactics associated with it across the country is, in my view, anti-family and anti-child. The American flag is the one that has always united us. Let's keep it that way. From Siobhan Kelly, I have raised a family here in Boonton and always enjoyed Grace Lord Park. I feel that flying a political flag over the park will be too divisive for our community. Please vote no to any ordinance that would politicize town flagpoles. The American flag is the only flag that should fly over Grace Lord Park. This is the one flag that unites us all. Vote no on ordinance 1126. From Catherine Smith of Wayne. Hello, I am writing with concern over the ordinance that would politicize town flagpoles. I urge you to vote no on any such ordinance. You were elected to represent the people of Boonton, not judge their personal and sincerely held beliefs. While I am not a resident of Boonton, my daughter does attend school in Boonton at Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and our family is certainly affected by the decisions this town makes on public matters like flags. Liam Kelly writes, I am a young adult born and raised in Boonton. I love this town and its historical roots, and I don't want its charm and appeal to be tarnished by political controversy. I am concerned about the proposed ordinance on the evening's agenda because I think it will divide the community. Please vote no on any ordinance that will politicize town flagpoles. There is only one flag that unites us, the American flag. Vote no on ordinance 1126. From the Light family, I am writing to express my support for the pride flag being flown in Grace Lord Park and anywhere else in town. Boonton is supposed to be small town, big heart. And part of that big heart is making everyone feel safe and included in our community, regardless of their race, creed, or sexuality. We are all people and should be seen and treated as such. Flying the pride flag causes absolutely no damage. Not flying one does. By pointedly choosing to make part of our community invisible communicates to them that they are unwanted here and not safe here. That cannot be what we communicate to anyone, particularly young members of our community who may struggle to feel seen and safe at home. Pride flag says you are safe to be you, I accept you. Anything other than that message should have no home in this beautifully diverse, growing, warm community many of us know and love this town to be. There is enough hate in the world without targeting those most vulnerable and on the margins of society. People who have no interest in harming others, people who simply want to exist as who they are. I support the proposal to fly the pride flag during Pride Month, but also its presence any time of the year. Please pass this referendum. Emily Light. From AJ Brown, please keep the pride flag flying in Boonton. All are welcome and celebrated in this town. Thanks. From Ellen Lowen, I am in strong support for ordinance 11-26. My partner and I moved to Boonton 1 year ago. Everyone we have met loves this town and has been so welcoming. I feel like I see an LGBTQ flag in every business window, which is why I was surprised to hear the flag was not going to be raised at all during Pride. If this council doesn't approve this ordinance, I feel they are not representing the beautifully accepting community of Boonton. Thank you for your time and consideration. My name is Nathan Lutz, and I've been a resident of Boonton for 2 years. I'm also a K-12 educator, and I've spent the last 28 years working with young people and families in schools and communities across New Jersey. When my husband and I chose to move to Boonton, we did so very intentionally. We were looking for a town that felt welcoming, connected, and kind. From the very beginning, that is exactly what we found here. We found neighbors who wave hello, small businesses that make people feel known, community events that bring people together, and a town that genuinely feels like it cares about its residents. That sense of openness matters. It matters more than people sometimes realize. I am writing in support of raising the pride flag at Grace Lord Park during Pride Month. To me, this is not a political statement. It is a community statement. It says that in Boonton, people deserve to feel safe, seen, and valued for who they are. As a teacher, I can tell you firsthand that visibility matters deeply, especially to young people. Small gestures from communities can have a profound impact. Seeing a pride flag does not diminish anyone else's identity or beliefs. It simply communicates that LGBTQ residents, families, students, visitors, and business owners are part of this community too, and that they belong here, and belonging matters. I also think it is important to recognize that Pride Month is ultimately about humanity and dignity. Many LGBTQ people, myself included, have spent parts of our lives wondering whether we would be accepted in the places we live, work, worship, and raise families. When a town chooses inclusion, it sends a powerful message that kindness and respect our community values. That is the Boonton I have come to know over the past 2 years. No community is perfect, but what makes a town strong is its willingness to make people feel welcome, even when experiences and backgrounds differ. Raising the pride flag at Grace Lord Park would be a visible reflection of the warmth and openness that drew many of us here in the first place. I'm grateful to live in a town where this conversation is even possible. And I hope Boonton will continue to lead with compassion, visibility, and community spirit. Thank you for your time. I'm not sure if I read this one already. I may have, I think I have duplicates. From John Holly. Dear Mayor Lynch and members of the Boonton Town Council, America at its highest stated principles was founded in a creedal nation, a republic grounded not in blood, religion, or tribe, but in natural rights, equally before the law, liberty, and the pursuit of human flourishing. These ideals were most famously expressed by Thomas Jefferson in the Declaration of Independence and secured through the Constitution. The American flag stands for those principles, for sacrifices born in war and peace, and for the hope that, despite our many differences, Americans remain one people. Yet the flag does not, by its mere presence, unite every heart. To some, it recalls liberty, opportunity, service, and sacrifice. To others, it may recall exclusion, broken promises, delayed justice, and loyalty demanded before equal dignity was given. Such feelings are not necessarily hostile to America. Often they arise from a serious debate over what America has been and what its own principles require it to become. For that reason, the debate over the pride flag should not be reduced to a contest between unity and division. In a time when many historically marginalized fellow citizens face increasing discrimination, suspicion, and exclusion, the pride flag need not be read as a rival banner. It may instead be understood as a sign that those long mistreated have a voice, a dignity, and a rightful place in the American household. Rightly understood, the pride flag does not deny the promise of America. It asks America to keep that promise. The American flag speaks of liberty, equality, and citizenship. The pride flag reminds us that these blessings have not always been equally enjoyed. Displaying a pride flag, then, need not be seen as an insult to the American flag or as an attack on the religious beliefs of others. It may instead be seen as a gesture of welcome toward people too often judged, excluded, or made to feel outside the circle of belonging. True unity, not made by pretending every citizen has walked the same road. It comes from the shared labor of shared labor of making America's promises living and real. If the American flag is to truly unite us, its meaning must be large enough to include all Americans. Displaying the pride flag in Grace Lord Park during Pride Month will show Boonton as a place striving to live up to those ideals. From Jean Flaherty. I am writing to request that you vote no on any ordinance that would permit any flags other than the U.S. flag and the POWMIA flags to be flown in on Boonton's flagpoles. These flags unite us as Americans and serve as a reminder of our shared freedoms and love of country and the many sacrifices that have been made to secure them. I bring my toddler son and his friends to play at Grace Lord Park multiple times a week. While I love and respect everyone in my community, certain symbols, such as the pride flag, represent ideas and lifestyles with which I do not agree. A town flag pole with a flag representing these ideals would present a divisive environment. Thank you for your consideration and work on behalf of Boonton. From Sandy Larimer. Hello again. I just wanted to reiterate the points I sent you a couple of weeks ago, which are, please vote no on any ordinance that would politicize flagpoles. We are a small town with big hearts. We love our neighbors for what we have in common and despite our differences. As elected officials, you should represent all the people of Boonton. Please do not favor or discriminate against us. Please do not play into identity politics. Please do not vote for spreading unnecessary division or for adding unnecessary financial and administrative burdens. Please keep this town united under one flag and continue your duties to represent all of the people of our town. There is only one flag that unites us, our American flag. Vote no on 11-26. Okay. Alexis Sullivan, I am writing in for the May 18th Town Council meeting. I've been a resident of Ward 1, District 1 since February 2025, and I'm so happy to now be able to call Boonton my home. Over the past year, my spouse and I have met and befriended people from all over town and with all sorts of flags outside their homes. Every single person has been so kind and welcoming, even to two people that are very visible allies. And we love that everyone in Boonton gives off that same vibe. What better message could we send as a town than one of acceptance, solidarity, and pride? Thousands of towns and cities fly the pride flag during the month of June to signal their support for all communities. What a beautiful and meaningful thing it would be if Boonton did the same. Flying the pride flag hurts no one. It stands for equality, empathy, and embracing those around us. The future is inclusive. Kindness is everything. I have to read the whole thing? Is that true? Mr. Pasternak, I can't edit at all.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Edit at all, for short.
I can't hear you.
Oh, never mind, I'll read the whole.
I should permit it to edit?
I strongly propose that ordinance 1126 remain unamended, ensuring we continue with strict government-only flag policy on town property. This rule is essential to guarantee that our local government remains completely politically neutral. The American flag and our local flags already stand as powerful symbols that represent every single resident equally, regardless of race, religion, or sexual orientation, making any additional flags entirely unnecessary. Mr. Michael Yoga's appearance before the town council on May 4th was unjustly mischaracterized in Mr. Weitzman's newsletter, and I want to correct the record. The fact that Mr. Weissman or anyone else in the room was Jewish had absolutely nothing to do with the vital point Mr. Yoga was making. His historical point was clear. The swastika was a symbol of good luck, well-being, and prosperity for thousands of years before it was hijacked by the Nazi Party in the 1920s to become a symbol of authoritarian brutality. This proves that the meaning of symbols and political flags can warp into something deeply offensive to others, which is exactly why they must never be flown over town property. Having known Mr. Yoga for 15 years, I know him to be a man of impeccable character, and this attack on him was completely unjustified. The LGBTQ flag is a political flag representing only 9% of the U.S. population, bound together by non-heterosexual preferences. Given the deeply private nature of both sex and politics, citizens are entirely free to fly this flag over their own private property. However, it is fundamentally inappropriate to hoist a political flag over shared town property, whether it is a public city park or city hall itself. As previously stated, the flags approved in our current ordinance already unite everyone in our town, county, state, and country. There are the flags that bring us together as one community rather than fracturing us to favor just 9%. Non-heterosexual behavior is explicitly considered abhorrent in the Christian Bible. By hoisting this flag, this council is actively forcing Christian believers to accept a symbol over their public parks that directly conflicts with and contradicts their deeply held religious beliefs? Why should a council elected by the people force its own citizens to compromise their faith? Council members, you were elected to serve the entire community, not to weaponize public property against the deeply held convictions of your constituents. This decision is not about inclusion. It is about preservation. Government property belongs to every single resident, and the only way to ensure it remains a neutral space is to maintain a strict government-only policy. Our current ordinance does exactly that. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Liz. That was not easy. I just wanted to potentially open up to the public again. There was a gentleman who ran out in the back when there was a fire call. If you wanted to say anything, huh? Okay, I just want to give you the opportunity to speak. Okay. Seeing nobody else, I'll close the public hearing and call for a motion to open this up for town council discussion.
So moved.
Second, Balin. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, have at it.
I have a comment. So I just wanted to comment on the recusal action that was put forth by the mayor to member Weissman due to what you perceived to be a conflict of interest 2 weeks ago. So I wasn't here. I was on Zoom. The request of that recusal was a little bit misguided, and here's why. The creation of the flag committee was born out of requests from LGBTQ+ community members and allies that wanted to see the pride flag fly at Grace Lord Park for the month of June to commemorate Pride. I took those requests and turned them into action by calling for a flag ordinance review. Boonton Rainbow Pride members did not approach me nor ask me for this review. It is for this reason that voting no on this ordinance has deeper consequences. Voting no is harmful to the communities in which council members are elected to represent. Voting no tells our marginalized residents that they don't matter. The town of Boonton rescinded the display of the pride flag in 2023 by majority vote and rewrote the ordinance that once allowed the pride flag to be displayed for the month of June at Grace Lord Park. The pride flag is in no way undermines our American flag nor insults our veterans. The pride flag will conform with federal flag code, and once this ordinance is adopted, become government speech and will not need to come before the council year after year. I have heard all too often from some council members of the governing body that they have more important business to attend to than voting on pride flag raising. The town has heard this case for flying the pride flag for over 7 years. If this is not a matter of importance, then the issue would not be before this council year after year. The flag raising is important to marginalized citizens of this town. Voting no is making the town of Boonton appear to be less inclusive. It is reducing the attractiveness to residents, businesses, and visitors who value diversity. By voting no year over year, our government is damaging community trust, signaling exclusion, and harming the town's reputation. By voting no, you are essentially telling those marginalized residents that they don't matter and that they can lead to the LGBTQ+ residents to feel unwelcome or unsafe. The town cannot continue to rely on LGBTQ+ allies that reside here and conduct business in Boonton to be the only voice and proof of welcome diversity. The governing body should take progressive steps and follow some of our Republican majority neighboring towns like Jefferson Township, Mount Olive Township, and Sparta, just to name a few, that have pride flag raisings for the month of June. By voting no, the town sees a reduced civic engagement from marginalized groups. As council members, we see the result in declining attendance at town hall meetings, not tonight, but at other ones. By voting no, you are increasing tensions between government and community organizations. By voting no continually, there is government division and instability. This reduces public confidence in the council's ability to work collaboratively and can create long-term fractionalization that spills into other policy areas. By voting no, you are welcoming criticism from advocacy groups, neighboring municipalities, as well as state leaders. By voting no, you undermine the government-stated commitment to equality and civil rights. Just think about that for a second. By voting no on flying the pride flag at Grace Lord Park for the month of June creates tangible harm for our governing body. The seeds for community distrust are planted and internal divisions are rooted. This harms our reputation as a stigma-free town. Voting no results in negative media coverage for the residents of the town and the governing body, but more paramount, those voting no are not representing those marginalized community members they were elected to represent. So I ask each of you, every person here tonight, to consider these unintended consequences of a no vote. Let us not be the town that time has long forgotten. Let's progress. Thank you.
Else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to preface this with, I've heard a lot of people speak on both sides of this, and honestly, I have been keeping score, and it's just about even, okay? However, the thing that bothered me, there's a person I love dearly who has repeatedly to me said, if you don't have to tell me you're straight, I should not have to tell you I'm not. And so I really did kind of take offense to a statement which I misheard, because what I misheard was a question, where are the gays? That was 2 weeks ago. Where are the gays? That's the question I thought I heard at our last council meeting. It turns out I didn't hear those exact words, but the implied question led me to an uncomfortable conclusion about our small town with a big heart. Being okay with your gay neighbors and friends is one thing. We have an opportunity and an obligation to support and represent those in our town who stay quiet, who keep their heads down, and are even headed back into the closet as political rhetoric swirls around their right to exist. One of the members of our committee kept asking, is there a way to compromise? During the course of several meetings and phone calls, a compromise was offered, and no objection was made. That compromise is incorporated in the amendment before us tonight and reflects the 6-3 decision of the town council in 2023 to permit the raising of a pride flag on the flagpole in Grace Lord Park during the month of June, which is exactly what that amendment says. Councilmember Meehan voted in favor of that resolution. It seems to me that the request to compromise was made as a distraction, similar to the observation my son made many years ago to his younger sister. When mom says yes, she means yes. When she says no, she means no. And when she says maybe, she means no. That son is a grown man now, an Army reservist who is facing the possibility of deployment, which is something I just found out when I visited him for Mother's Day last weekend. He has no objection to a pride flag flying on a flagpole in his hometown. Whether you came out tonight to support or oppose the amendment to our flag ordinance, I offer a plea. Let's not make this an us versus them battle. I have friends on both sides of this debate, and I'd like to keep them. But if pressed to choose, I will always choose acceptance over exclusion, presence over absence, and openness over the closet. I have more I could say about inclusion, visibility, and basic human decency, and the difference between yes, but, and a simple yes. You've heard it from me before. You'll likely hear it again. I urge my fellow council members to vote yes on this amendment to fly one flag in one place for a limited period of time to support members of our community who are too often made to feel like they do not fully belong. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment.
I'm going to say something. Okay, this statement is a little personal. So my mother, she immigrated to this country in 1974. And I have to thank her 1,000 times. Thank you, Mom, she's not here, for taking that courageous move. because of that, she gave my sister and I the opportunity to live the American dream. I feel like I am living the American dream somewhat. So I am very proud to call myself an American. And this country should represent those values. So that is why I also believe that flying the pride flag just 1 month out of the year represents these values, especially in the current times we are living in. Many people here and many Americans are living in fear, the fear of not belonging. And to quote a couple of things I heard tonight, the point of this flag is to represent all of us. But does it really? Transgender rights are being stripped away. Look at what's happening to my Latino community. To the gentleman today that said that he hasn't anymore witnessed racism, I wish I could say the same. I was born in Queens, New York in 1987. And was recently told to go back to my country. What country? This is where I was born. And my husband was asked if he was an illegal. And my son, multiple times in this town, which I call home, has been called a wetback, multiple times. Sticks and stones don't break my bones, but words, they hurt. But I tell my kids, stand up straight, like a gentleman said, and walk it out, but it hurts. The biggest controversy today was that, yeah, let's fly a flag that represents all of us. And we need to stop believing otherwise. I wish it was just a belief and it was all in my head. Let's stop steering the pot and keep just one flag. If steering the pot, it was steering the pot like this meeting today that got us to where we are today. The end of slavery, the end of segregation, women's rights to vote, and Stonewall. This is what it takes. The fight continues. People just want to feel safe and accepted, a feeling of belonging. And unfortunately, we have to continue this fight. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to say something as well. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out. It really is a testament to the power of government that we have this ability to stand up and be counted and have our voices heard. I am a proud ally. I love my LGBTQ+ daughter. I love my LGBTQ+ family and friends. And it hurts me that they feel that this flag that should represent them doesn't. And I know that they don't mean any offense by saying that they would like something else to be flown to help show everybody else that they should be. Change in this country is hard, and it has come by people that have fought for it, died for it, and have spoken up for it, including women who have fought and died who you've never heard of. It's important to understand that as hard as growth is, and it comes with fear and opposition, always. But it is our hope. It is us striving to be a more perfect union, to be a more inclusive place, that we move forward despite these fears, to take this division, to take these feelings, and to say, we do need to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't mean to give a speech tonight to the public. I truly believe that this is our time as a council to discuss the ordinance before we vote. And I'd like to believe that there's no vote has been cast. That is true. So there is opportunity, as other council members have asserted. There's opportunity here to, however you came into this meeting tonight, to be moved, to change what you thought your vote might have been in reflection to the public comment we heard this evening, in recognition that it is an unsettled issue, it's a contentious issue, and I have a few comments here in no particular order, which I would like to read. A number of things that were brought up. I think it's important. The start of this effort, Councilmember Mazie in forming the subcommittee to review this ordinance, it began as a review to look at the current ordinance, which protects the American flag and honors the longstanding tradition in Boonton. We support our veterans. And see if there was a way to display the pride flag as an official act by the town. At the very first meeting of the subcommittee, it turned out that that was not the case. That actually, the first statement was that this goal of this committee was to simply fly the pride flag on some or all of our town flagpoles for at least the month of June and possibly some members all year. There was no interest in discussing how the LGBT community might be supported in other ways. Compromises that were proposed by myself, the one minority member of the committee in opposition, were geared towards potential projects that would provide real relief to people in this community who are suffering. The town makes donations, as you all know, from time to time to charitable organizations in town. As council members in the subcommittee raised that there was real suffering within this community in town, one compromise that I proposed that, if you've read the minutes I wrote from the meeting, you might have heard it, but might be news to you, fellow council members, was some way that, and I don't have the solution, but maybe an educational program, something like a center, a way to support people who feel marginalized in a real concrete way, that we could get help to those in need without offending or usurping our sacred displays. There was no discussion or interest in such compromises. Another compromise that was raised was in response to the assertion that the town's treatment of armed forces flags on Memorial Day, with the display we have to the left side when you're facing Town Hall, showed preferential treatment to some members of the town, veterans, and those actively serving in the armed forces. And in fact, in the written notes of the majority members of the subcommittee, that was specifically asserted that our current ordinance that enshrines those flags for public display at the town hall showed that the town was preferentially treating our group of veterans and not providing a similar treatment for members of this group. So I proposed as a potential compromise a similar display that could display a pride flag on town, even at town hall, allow an official ceremony, but to not touch our flagpoles, which we actually, a number of people mentioned, the state, the county, the town flags. We don't fly any of those on our flagpoles in Boonton. We only fly the American flag and the POW MIA flag, as I'm sure you all know, on those flagpoles. And that's in accord with federal and state law. That also was not considered by the majority members of the committee. And I can say, I mean, I don't know exactly why, but this uncompromising attempt to propose this display on our flagpoles, some reason cited, one specific reason cited, even at the last meeting, was that the flag was wanted to be at Grace Lord Park because of the privately held, publicly open Pride event held at that park, and that it would be important to have a flag raising ceremony during that event. That's not included in the ordinance, but it is some of the behind the scenes. Another behind the scenes comment from the subcommittee. I'm glad, Councilmember Mazie, that you pointed out that the initiative to introduce this ordinance was in response to petition by members of the public. As was discussed in the ordinance that was overturned, briefly, the kind of flags as bulletin boards ordinance, in response, I know Councilmember Weissman, you brought this up, the Supreme Court case in Boston that in which Boston lost was in part their failure to enact a clear policy that in how they were choosing or denying members of the public who sought to fly their flag was in part how they lost. My understanding is that this ordinance that we're about to adopt, which we claim, the members who propose it claim is an act of government speech, it's just publicly stated. It was in response to private petition. We're just handed another ordinance, a private petition to fly 300 some flags. My question I asked last meeting, I proposed that I'd like to hear from the council members when I'm finished. What grounds, what principle do you accept the display for the pride flag and deny other petitions? There's no wording in the ordinance that would make clear why this is an act of government speech, or as another member of the public said, what it is meant to represent. A number of people spoke and came and said what pride means. We heard at the subcommittee, pride is for everybody. Pride means be yourself. Clearly, anyone can say what they think pride means. There is no official definition or official display or a flag. As was pointed out, there's no official description of the flag in the ordinance. You know, I would facetiously state that the LGBTQ, it says what, LGBTQ pride flag. That there is no, you could pick any flag and declare that that is the flag the town is flying for pride flag. I know that's not the intention. It's not clear who would make that determination. Who chooses of this board which pride flag will be displayed? That's not included. I think those are important absences in this ordinance that will open the town up, as lawyers have indicated, to potential challenge. And we've already incurred costs and legal reviews and a time of staff members to continue to pursue this, and it will only go up. Lest you disagree, lest you disbelieve me. That's inclusivity. That's the love. Montclair. The city of Montclair initially passed an ordinance to display the pride flag. Councils that have invited this kind of toxic national political activism into their towns have only seen negative effects. Montclair started with the display of the pride flag, and since then exploded to in town council debate, city council debate, and in acts of the government to devote their time to discussions of whether or not to select the Pan-African flag or the Black Liberation flag for display. Additionally, discussions abounding, invited by the council in that decision, Israeli flags, other national flags, and in response to another public comment, the property damage and vandalism have resulted. This is not an issue that is a simple win-win for everyone. Appreciate your patience. Our public flagpoles are historically for display of, display of those things which, like it or not, we must all identify with. City, county, state, national governments of that particular place. Principally, historically, and in Bhutan only, our nation, that flag being our national flag, and the flag represents the covenant we made with our soldiers to never abandon them when they deploy in our defense. The veterans are not another special interest group. That flag, our American flag, remains the most powerful symbol we have to unite us, and we look to our flagpoles to see those things which bind us all together. Those who want to vote yes on this ordinance tonight disagree. They have stated tonight that we need to fly their flag, this flag, underneath ours to single out a special interest of their choosing in need of support. Some have been quick to say that it's no big deal to fly that flag on our town poles. I think we all see that it is a big deal tonight. Some have been quick to dismiss views of opposition, asking who on earth would feel harmed by a flag. I think that also has been easily proven tonight, that several people can feel harmed by either or any flag. When I asked in committee why the American flag wasn't good enough, the answer was, it just isn't. Though no one has cited any actual harm done by our current ordinance, no one in the council, this proposed amendment purports to heal some shortcoming. What is it? We've heard that our American flag isn't good enough, that to fly it without a pride flag is to live in the past, as Councilmember Mazie just said. As a question I asked at last meeting and asked again earlier this evening, how will you decide which causes to display flags for and which to deny? As we discussed in committee, there are a number of groups in town that also claim to be marginalized and truly and objectively, like members here, can cite instances of marginalization and harm. Are we charged as part of our scope to select which of those groups and which of their beliefs are worthy of support and display and which are not? I say we are not. Again, I propose and compromise, and I still intend to do after this vote tonight, that to those who do not feel welcome, this council should take action, not to affirm your discontent with our national symbol, but to help you feel at home in Bhutan under our beautiful American flag.
Maybe everybody else thinks it's done.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I'll wrap it up. With respect for my colleagues and their supporters, there are several aspects of this ordinance that are ill-conceived, and the effort to push it through in time for one council member's organization's event next month would be discriminatory and divisive. This ordinance invites the division of national politics into our neighborhoods and online. It sets a precedent for political activism on the council, where newly elected officials use a one-person advantage to push through whatever they want. It singles out a special interest, politicizes our flagpoles in ways that have never been done before. It wades into spheres of religion and ideology, burdening every taxpayer with the risk of lawsuit. It makes the council or town staff, it's not clear which, judges of our symbols, our causes, our beliefs. It takes time and money, as some here said tonight 2 years ago, when the tables were turned. It takes time and money away from filling potholes, fixing sidewalks, and doing the business that residents value most. As you've seen, those of you who were at the beginning of this meeting, most votes that we vote on here are unanimous. Most, probably 90% or more of our votes are unanimous votes. And there are a number of things we agree on, even related to this issue. But we should not take the opportunity for a narrow majority, especially in the face of such disagreement, to, as a king might, push forward our own belief.
Done?
I'm done.
Right.
I believe you used more than 3 minutes.
Thank you. Just as a quick point of information, was legal counsel involved in drafting this ordinance?
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Pasternak, was legal counsel involved in drafting this ordinance?
Yes.
And this ordinance is legally sufficient?
Yes. No
Thank you.
objections.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to clear that up. I'm not going to respond to everything you said. I think you and I've had many disagreements over time, many agreements too. I don't think I'm going to go point by point, but I do want to hit on a couple of things. Just before getting into it, I do want to just share a couple of brief moments about the question of recusal that the mayor, you brought up at the last meeting. I wasn't going to raise it here again tonight, but it was raised, so I'm going to raise it again. And I want to be really clear because I've given this actually a lot of thought because this is a really important question and there's significant legal precedent around this key question. So first, it's important to note that I've been a vocal advocate for LGBTQIA+ equality for decades. In addition to all the amazing things my wife has done, I couldn't be prouder of her for that. I lobbied for marriage equality in Massachusetts when I was in high school. Over the years, I've raised money in Rudd and Pride 5Ks, was invited to serve as a town champion for Pride with the Morris County LGBTQ caucus, and even supported Pride flag efforts in communities like West Caldwell and Jefferson, all before being on the council. This is not a new cause for me. My vote today, and I will be voting today, reflects a lifetime of conviction, not any organizational affiliation. And it's important to note, I think it's really important to note, the question before this council is whether to raise a pride flag. It's not about benefiting one organization. It's about a cause. Full stop. That's what it's about. Look, Boonton Rainbow Pride, the organization my wife co-leads, is not a party to this ordinance. The Boonton Rainbow Pride Day on June 20th is an entirely separate event. The only overlap is that both involve safety, visibility, and equality for the LGBTQIA+ community, and both fall in June, which happens to be Pride Month. My wife and I receive no financial benefit from this ordinance, nor from Boonton Rainbow Pride. I'd also note, simply just as a matter of fact, that Lindsay invests significant personal time and personal money into putting on a free community event. And that event, by the way, to one of your points, Councilmember Balin, that event has happened every single year with or without the raising of the pride flag. So it's not about getting in before an event. I've given this matter serious thought, and there is, as I led with, relevant case law establishing that elected officials' record of advocacy and work, including activities before joining the council, is pertinent to the question of recusal. For these reasons, I'm not going to be recusing myself. Mayor, I appreciate you not bringing that up tonight. Thank you for that. And I will be casting a vote on this ordinance. So let me tell you why I'm going to vote the way I am. Look, I learned something about Boonton after I moved here. As a Jewish person in a world where anti-Semitism is rising, you know, I always hope that the next time I see a swastika in front of me, it's the last time. And I still hope that. Still looking at it sitting right there. I'm grateful to live in a community, though, where nearly everyone works hard to ensure that our town is welcoming to all. But I didn't know that before I moved here. What I knew is that the town sanctioned a menorah on government property. Look, I love Christmas trees. Many of you know that, perhaps a bit too much. But seeing that menorah told me that Boonton was a place that as a Jewish person, I would be welcomed. That helped us make the decision to shop here before we moved and to purchase our forever home here. And it's not relevant, every time I chance I get, Si, I look over at you and I want to thank you for that, because you resisted strong opposition with messages not too dissimilar from what we heard today and driving that forward. And I truly, from the bottom of my heart, Si, that is something I will be forever grateful to you for. So thank you for that. You know, and you remember this, there were warnings about a slippery slope. If we put a menorah, you're nodding, right? If we put a menorah in, great, what else are we going to have to do, right? Those were the arguments that were made. That the Christmas tree stood for everybody, all the holidays of the season. I still hear that every year from people. The Christmas tree stood for all holidays of the season. and was for everyone, right? You remember hearing those arguments, right? You're nodding. You heard those. You resisted that. You resisted that, and our community is better off for it. And that's why the pride flag being flown as government speech at Grace Lord Park means so much to people. That's why you've heard so many of these things today. Think about the message that we heard so often about unity, about what this town stands for and means, about wanting everyone to feel safe. Hanging a pride flag at Grace Lord Park under the American flag sends the message we all want to send. It's the promise of America that so many of you, including you, Councilmember Bell, I'm deeply grateful for your service, and so many members of my family have fought for. Where my sister is currently, as you know, working for in Ukraine right now under the American flag. In fact, as I've noted before, this thing that we're talking about is clearly conceptualized in the US Flag Code with clear guidelines about how such a thing as what we are proposing in this ordinance can be done. The broad bipartisan Congress who voted to approve the original flag code made a choice. They could have easily put a stipulation that no flag, or perhaps no flag other than military flags, could be flown on the same flagpole as the American flag. They didn't do that. They made the choice to create conditions for other flags to fly. They recognized the value of other flags, and they put it into law. That's in the flag code. The pride flag has been flown at the White House, at embassies overseas, on New Jersey state property, on the property of other Morris County towns we heard tonight, like Jefferson, not exactly a liberal stronghold up there. And think about a pride flag in a place like Jefferson or Boonton, or even on private property. It's more important on that public property, I would suggest, because it sends the unmistakable message that the things we all believe in, safety, security, welcoming for all, is present here. People know it even if they don't watch this meeting or read the minutes. I can't imagine why they wouldn't, but you know, some people might not. And I'll just end with this, Mayor. Even in welcoming communities, there will always be people who don't live those values, who hand out Nazi flags to Jewish council members and allies, who single out or bully LGBTQIA plus individuals. A menorah in Grace Lord Park, Councilman Wilkowski, like you pushed for and you drove forward, stands up against that. It says that's not our community. A pride flag under the American flag in Grace Lord Park sends that same message. It says that's not us. This is not a slippery slope any more than passing any ordinance is a slippery slope. Every ordinance can be changed, modified. There is a process now in place. You referenced Boston, Shirtless versus Boston. The key holding in that case, Boston had approved a couple hundred requests to fly flags. Then they denied one, a religious flag. Then they denied it. And they lost because there was not a clear process in place. We have that. We have that with this ordinance because it was we've identified a flag as government speech, and to add an additional flag would require additional amendments to the ordinance. That's clear, and that's why this is legally sufficient. Tonight, we have the ability to make these decisions. We've approved things like the National Day of Prayer at Town Hall without concern about a slippery slope. What else we'd have to approve? That was a 9-0 vote. That's a 9-0 vote every year, and I'm proud to vote for that every year. Look, we have the ability to make these decisions. Tonight, I hope we all come together, we join together and choose to stand up and send a message about Boonton being a welcoming place for all. There's legal precedent for this. I hope you'll join me in voting yes. And Mayor, that's what I have.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank you all for coming out tonight for our TAP presentation and sticking around for the show. It's clear that there's a lot of passion and opinions on both sides. And the things with opinions, you know, they don't always mesh. Some people agree, some people disagree. I just wanted to take a moment to point out a couple things. I made a comment at the last meeting. I had some concerns about conflict of interest. I still do. I made a comment about the Elks, not to disparage the Elks in any way, but to show that they were included in the application because of their tax-exempt status, because the Boonton Rainbow Pride Limited Liability Company is not a tax-exempt organization, nothing else. It's a tax-exempt organization, I believe, formed by, owned by, operated by council member's wife. I brought it up. He disagreed. Apparently, end of story. I'm not going to make too big a deal out of that. As far as what happened 2 years ago, at the last meeting before I became mayor in 2014, the council was split pretty well. I think it was a 5-4 vote to change the flag ordinance. The flag ordinance that was passed was not to allow the pride flag, although that was one of the consequences. The ordinance that was passed was to allow a flag in honor of any presidential proclamations. I look back over the prior 10 years, there's 4,000 proclamations. It really didn't narrow down, what could be flown. There was Right to Life, there was Israel, there was any number of flags. And there are many members of the community, myself included, who believe that the American flag is special. If you come to our Memorial Day, it's really moving for me. A member of my family was killed in the war, and my mother's actual birthday. So I really have a very strong belief in the American flag. And there are presentations made at the Grace Lord Park. We have the Christmas tree, which I think is defined as a holiday display. We have the menorah, which is also defined as a holiday display, which I think everyone knows the Jewish faith is, I think it would be a Jewish display. And then each year at the Boonton Rainbow Prides event, there is a rainbow arch, thank you, that is universally accepted when they request, can we have it there all for the whole month? That's a 9-0 vote. However, some people feel differently about the flags, and I think that's what our crux is here. We have very passionate members of the allies and supporters of LGBT. I'm not being disrespectful. I don't know all the letters. They're very passionate about that. And from listening to some of their arguments, I personally fly the flag at my home for the last couple of years below the American flag to show support. That doesn't mean I'm supportive of any other flag. For me, there's a threshold with flags on municipal flagpoles. So I'll likely be opposing this, but I do thank you all. Passionate for, passionate against. This is a very tough vote. So thank you all for coming. Having said that, yeah, sure.
Make a motion to move ordinance 10-26 forward.
Okay, I'm gonna close the council discussion
That's
first.
okay.
All right. Motion made.
Make a motion to close.
We don't need a motion for that. Okay.
I will make a motion that we move ordinance
Wait,
11.
I have a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Si. Go ahead.
Withdraw my
I'm
motion.
sorry, I thought I was the
No,
last.
no. Okay, I don't know how many of you here are an immigrant. I'm an immigrant from Iran. A long time ago, but as a Christian from Iran. I immigrated to the United States, came to Boonton, stayed in Boonton. Thank you for your words. And I was mayor for a few years. And at that time, the county, I think it was the county that said, you have to either say yes or no to performing marriages. Mayors could perform marriages. They said you either do yes or you don't know. I was one of the few mayors that accepted that fact. And I performed a lot of gay marriages right here in front of Town Hall. However, when I immigrated here and took an oath, one of the comments in the oath was, do you support the American flag? And ever since then, I've had yes. So that's my comment.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think we're done now. So is the motion still?
Now I will make a motion.
You can just say it again,
We'll
please.
renew the motion to move ordinance 11, I'm gonna say the correct number, 11-26 forward.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sure. Mr. Phelan,
No.
Ms. Pastoni,
Yes.
Ms. DiVenezia,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Maisy,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan,
No.
Mr. Weissman,
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky,
No.
Mayor Lynch.
No. The motion
Okay.
carries. New business, ordinance 12-26, introduction, title only, bond ordinance appropriating $3,174,500 and authorizing the issuance of $1,221,464,000 bonds or notes of the town for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the town of Boonton in the county of Morris, New Jersey. Can I get a motion to introduce this?
So moved, Weissman.
Seconded, Casconi?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Valen,
Yes.
Ms. Casconi,
Yes.
Ms. DeVenazia,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Maisy,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky,
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes.
Oh, well, back to lovey-dovey then.
Ordinance 13-26, introduction title only. Bond ordinance providing for the improvement of water supply and distribution system in and by the town of Boonton in the county of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $1,293,800. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of 1 million in bonds or notes of the town for financing such appropriation. Can I get a motion to introduce this?
So moved, Devenizia.
Second, Maisy.
Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Valen.
Yes.
Ms. Casconi.
Yes.
Ms. DeVenazia.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Maisy.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes. Ordinance 14-26, introduction, title only, bond ordinance appropriating $1,025,000 and authorizing the issuance of $950,000 in bonds or notes of the town for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the town of Boonton in the county of Morris, New Jersey, for the sanitary sewage system of the town. Get a motion to introduce this, please.
So moved, Maisy.
Second, Balin?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Valen.
Yes.
Ms. Casconi.
Yes.
Ms. DeVenazia.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Maisy.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes. Ordinance 15-26, introduction title only. Bond ordinance providing for the improvement of the water supply and distribution system, wellfield treatment plant, PFAS project in and by the town of Boonton in the county of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $6 million. Therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $6 million bonds or notes for the town for financing such appropriation. Get a motion to introduce this, please.
So moved, Wakilsky.
Second?
Seconded, Casconi?
Mr. Valen.
Yes.
Ms. Casconi.
Yes.
Ms. DeVenazia.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Maisy.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes.
Spend a little more money.
Ordinance 16-26, introduction title only. Ordinance providing for the acquisition of new and additional equipment by the town of Boonton in the county of Morris, New Jersey, and appropriating $242,700, therefore from general capital fund balance. Okay, motion to introduce this.
So moved, Devenizia.
Second, Meehan.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Valen.
Yes.
Ms. Casconi.
Yes.
Ms. DeVenazia.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez.
Yes.
Ms. Maisy.
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
Yes.
Mr. Weissman.
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
Yes.
Mayor Lynch.
Yes. Next up, I open up the dais to council member, administrator, and town attorney comments. Anybody that wants to raise any issue they care to, you're free to do so.
Yeah, I actually do have
Sure.
two things. Number one, I do want to commend anyone from the public who came up to speak, regardless of which side of this issue you were on. It takes a lot of courage to get up and say something when you know that there are people in the room who are opposed to you. So I thank you for your participation in our democracy. That being said, I also wanted to commend the Green Team for a really great garage sale on Saturday. I don't know what the final count was for the number of participating homes. I was one of them, and it was almost too beautiful a day. And I think there was a couple of hours there where nobody came because I hope they were out enjoying the weather. And I was like flagging them down. I was like, come buy my stuff. Come buy my stuff. And I'm glad to have gotten some of it out of my home. And I feel immensely lighter for not having to carry it around with me anymore. So that's all I have to say is well done, Green Team.
Okay, anyone else?
I do.
Oh.
I unfortunately was not able to participate in the Green Team's townwide garage sale. I did, however, go to the opening day of the Boonton Farmers Market, and I would like to commend the Farmers Market team and Boonton Main Street for a fantastic farmers market. I was there. It was full of people. It was full of vendors. It was lovely to see We had new vendors as well that I hope everybody takes a chance. This is Saturday, rain or shine. If it is raining, take an umbrella, take a raincoat. It's still a good market. But come out, please, to support these vendors. The more people we have, the more vendors we will get, and this bigger this this market will become, and it just benefits the town. Thank you.
I would like to motion to allow my children to sleep in the morning.
You need to get permission from Marcy. but
No,
it's okay
I'm
with
sorry,
you.
no second. There's no second. Sorry.
Luisa, were you gonna say something?
No.
Okay.
I can help. I'm wishing my kids I need you bright and early in school. My mom never let me take a sick day. You can't either.
Anyone else? Okay.
I would like to second, Councilwoman, Di Venezia's comments about everybody coming out tonight. Again, regardless of what your opinion is, it's really great to see everybody come out. Come up here, make your comments known in what could be a tough environment, whether it's which side you were on. So good to see everyone come out. Please, do it more frequently. Thank you.
Okay, I would then open the meeting up to the public. Any members of the public wishing to discuss anything they want, please step forward and introduce yourself.
Dr. Susanna Pittman, Randolph, New Jersey, business owner and property owner. I'll be so brief. I know we've been here a long time. I'll just say that I treat stress disorders all the time. There's a lot of stress in this room. What I'm going to suggest is that if someone wants to have a conversation with someone, they ask rather than assume. So if you come up to someone and say, hey, I want to talk to you about da-da-da-da-da-da-da, maybe start by saying, hey, can we have a conversation? And if that person says, yes, that's wonderful. If they say no, that's wonderful too. Give them space, let them be safe. If they say yes, but not right now, please respect that. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Who do I send my chiropractor bill to for sitting this? Daniela Mendez, Sickle Street in Dover, New Jersey, speaking on behalf of EDGE. I just want to thank the council members who voted in favor of the flag ordinance. Thank you for having the courage to do that. And thank you. Good night.
Anyone else?
Michelle Riley, Second Ward. I wasn't going to comment actually on the ordinance, but I am going to set the record straight about Jefferson, where I was most recently the township clerk. They do have a pride ceremony and we're very happy, I'll speak for when I was there, to do so, but they never raised a flag below the American flag. They compromised and they actually made a policy where they put the flag up on the gazebo, which is on municipal property. So in case anybody thinks that the township of Jefferson was putting any other flag underneath the American flag, they were not. But what I was going to say is, once again, I appreciate the fact that the clerk puts together such a fabulous agenda, and I'm going to encourage you again as council members to stop introducing ordinances by title and put the entire ordinance into the agenda so that we in the public know, for example, what you are spending $242,700 on for equipment. And my other question is, I do know that you are required to have a 5-year capital plan. Do we have a 10-year capital plan? Have we started planning out that far? Because I think when you look at some of these numbers and the fact that we are seeing such an increase in water rates and sewer rates and all those other things, I think we need to have more of a long-term plan if we don't already. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Mrs. Keiser.
You know all these water improvement things?
Can you introduce yourself and speak?
Teresa Keiser, Second Ward. Are all these water improvement things gonna cost us any more money?
This is not question and answer. When the public is done, I'll try to answer your questions.
That's okay. And then the second question, when everything is over, could you tell us
specifically what additional equipment you're purchasing and for whom? Thank you.
Brian Benton, 217 Crown Road. Like you said, conversation has to continue with the flag ordinance. I've just asked for 306 flags to be flown during my comments before. Okay, I expect not being discriminated. Okay, that's 5 of the 4. That's what democracy is. So my question is, and you know what, Ms. Lopez, you know, something a little background about me. My kids are Colombian. My wife's Hispanic. Nobody really knows that because when you take a look at her, she looks white as can be. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. So you brought up a thing about how it's going to occur. So my legal question is, I just asked you, when will I have an answer on all those 306 flag requests? Now that the Pandora's box has been opened, we walked through it. I said before, it was either all or none. The way the ordinance was written legally, you're right, a lawyer wrote it. He also wrote an escape clause in it as well. Okay, which means he's not putting his butt on the line. This council will put the butt on the line. He's wrote it to get out of it, legally get out of it. So my question again is for everybody, and I asked for 306 flags. I suggest you look at it because I started with in June, the pride flag. Okay, so my question will be asked after this, will be next, is when will I have an answer? And I'm going to ask, I believe it was Smazy, Balin, Lopez, Castoni. Thank you. You're the flag committee. When will I have my answer? And I put it on you, the board president, to respond to that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Michael Yoga, 20 Genoa Court. Just want to say I am happy with the reaction that I received from everyone here regarding the display of that information that I passed out to everyone. Why is that? Because if somebody didn't react that way, I would be very, very concerned. It is abhorrent, it's evil, and it is to be remembered so that way we never have it happen again. And that was the whole point of why I was presenting that type of information to everybody. Not to promote it, but to teach it to others. Why did we all react the way we did? It's because somebody told us what those things meant. And it was abhorrent. So we can never, ever forget. But it's also a warning because when you start to single out one flag, one special group over another, these are the type of things that could happen. And then when you have a councilman that says you have no right to speak, that's exactly the thing that you're trying to defend up here with your proposal. So please think about that as well. Under our Constitution, freedom of speech, that's what that flag represents. Now you have an ordinance that is singling out one special group. And like Mr. Vint just came up here and said, I got 306 more other ones I want to present up here. That's going to be a tough thing to try to disseminate. So please just keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
I'm Tony. Another bite at the end.
Need my name again?
Please.
Tony Scazafava, Fairview Avenue. I'm just wondering if there's litigation that comes in on what you passed tonight. Are you going to be prepared to spend our hard-earned tax dollars? I wouldn't be happy with that, and I think a lot of people here are not going to be happy with that. Spending our tax dollars defending litigation when other people are going to come in with their flags and their thoughts and their ideas, what they want to put up on our flagpoles. Think about that. Not going to be too happy if you guys are voting, spend taxpayers' money on litigation. Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, by the way. Okay, try to answer some of the questions. Will those borrowings for the water system cost more money? Hell yeah. We got very strict DEP guidelines, raising our the quality of the water, removing PFAS. We are renovating the well field with the hope and likely expectation that it's going to increase our water flow. And we will be able to provide water not just to the town of Boonton, but also to some of our surrounding towns. We will be a provider to other towns that can't meet their water demands. So it will likely cost us additional money. As far as what equipment was included in the that ordinance, I thought I had brought the list with me,
I
but
got it right here. It's in section 2.
it's not the complete list.
It's not the complete list?
No, I had a list at home. It includes turnout gear, self-contained breathing apparatus equipment, air cylinders, a fleet camera system, officer safety plan, police active shooter body armor, and police electronic equipment. Together with all equipment, accessories, attachments, work and materials necessary, therefore, and incidental thereto. I believe it also includes a DPW vehicle. Yes.
I think 2 other vehicles.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was in this ordinance or not, but. And our police chief thinks 2 is not enough. Okay, was there another question? Litigation, if anybody sues the town, we obviously have to defend ourselves, and there will be a cost to do so. Whether that happens remains to be seen. And then, having said that, our ordinance process includes, an introduction. It includes adoption, where there's a public comment section, which you saw was quite extensive. It includes council discussion. It includes a roll call vote, which was decided 5-4. Apparently, because there was a 5-4 majority, basically along party lines, 50% of the people, give or take, who were opposed to this are going to go home unhappy. What happens within 5 days, the ordinance is delivered to the mayor for signature and adoption. I'm not going to sign it. I'm invoking my right to veto this. It requires 6 votes to veto it. If anybody would like to make a motion to try to override that, I would suggest you do so.
Yep, I'll make a motion to override the veto.
I second that motion.
We have roll call, please.
Procedurally, just to make sure that you follow. only
Sure.
the Government entirely. Mayor, as to your mayoral veto, you're supposed to actually put your statement or your reasons for objections on the record. You say whatever you like, whatever you believe that your basis for veto is. And once that happens, then at that point, the matter goes back to council to resolve that veto. There's a motion and a second, and they vote. The last thing is that there needs to be 6 affirmative votes to override the mayoral veto.
So is it,
That's what we're, so again, we can waive the 5-day, the clerk coming to you, that's fine. Sounds like council wants to make the motion, but if you just put your statement of reasons as to why you're objecting, that's all you have to say. So it's procedurally part of the record. And you have.
I'm a little shorter, briefer with verbiage than a lot of the other people here. I don't believe a flag other than a U.S. flag should fly on our flagpoles.
That's fine, Mayor. Thank you.
And I believe that the fact that just because the majority shifted, that I don't think that 5 people should dictate what half of the people that took their time to write in and come personally to oppose should dictate that.
Thank
No.
you, Mayor. That's all. It's just your
Okay.
record is now complete.
There's a motion on the floor, I believe.
so now it's in order for me to make a motion now?
Yes, now by operation, the council must consider the ordinance to resolve the veto. So
Got
there has to, the motion's fine, the second's fine, but at this point, there has to be a vote. And again, the mayor, you wouldn't vote on your own veto, Mayor. It's a vote by the entire council. And again, 2/3 of all council members are necessary to override the veto. I would just suggest that you frame the question in such a manner that a vote for yes is to override the veto, vote for no is to not override the veto. For purposes of clerk keeping the vote.
I'll make a motion for exactly what he just said.
A yes
So,
means override.
right, so I'll make a motion, so I make a motion to override the veto with a yes vote indicating support to override the veto.
Yes, a yes vote is to override, a no vote is to no.
Okay,
But
the motion has been made.
there should be a roll call.
Right, and a motion was made, but the second by Councilmember Di Venezia.
That's fine.
Okay.
And then the clerk just needs to take the roll call.
Right now? Okay. Mr. Valen.
No.
Ms. Casconi,
Yes.
Ms. DiVenezia,
Yes.
Ms. Lopez,
Yes.
Ms. Maisy,
Yes.
Mr. Meehan.
No.
Mr. Weissman,
Yes.
Mr. Wakilsky.
No.
There's a point of information that means the veto holds.
5-3.
5-3.
Right, the veto holds. You override it.
Then call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Balin.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.